You're up and it's still dark. Kick back with a cup of joe. You know you've got friends waiting on 1620 The Zone. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike. Listen on the radio stream or YouTube or podcasts. Anytime it feels right. It's Happer and Schaefer. Happer and Schaefer.
All right, good morning and welcome in. Happy Thursday. It's Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the Zone Radio Network. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Joey Colbert with you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, a little pep in the step across the table here. If you're watching with us on YouTube, our guy has a floral Packers shirt
It's
on.
a Packers flamingo shirt.
Oh, there are flamingos on there. There you go. And it's Super Bowl champ. Now, I can't help but notice that it's May 14th.
Yes.
The football season doesn't start for another 4 months. What is the purpose of this?
It's Christmas in May.
What does that mean? Christmas in May?
I don't know.
Well, you know, Connor, you're a child. You wake up in the morning, you go downstairs.
Yeah.
The cookies are gone. The milk's drank.
Yeah. The presents are under the tree.
They're under the tree.
Very
and
excited.
The stockings are filled.
Yes.
You open up the stockings and you see who's playing the first week of the 2026 NFL schedule.
So
Merry Christmas.
This is the NFL schedule release day is a stocking stuffer. It's full on Christmas?
It's full on Christmas.
I think
Okay.
all the different gifts are different weeks of the NFL.
Yes.
Okay,
So there's
interesting.
18 gifts or 17 gifts in a stocking or however it could be done.
Do you like NFL schedule release day more than NFL? More than NFL football?
No,
Okay.
no, I don't.
All right,
I don't.
all right, I'm
but
just making sure.
But this is my favorite
Because
thing.
Christmas is like the best holiday.
This is my favorite thing in the off season. This is like one of my favorite days in the actual off season. It's just finding out when the games are happening and what times they are.
That makes sense.
That's kind of why I call it Christmas in May for sports for me.
I understand.
Would you consider it like week 19? Is it something like that?
No, I would say week 0.
Week 0.
No, week 0.
Okay.
Don't give them any ideas.
I like it.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't want to
I
give
like it.
I don't want to give the NFL ideas. I don't need them to play a regular season game in August.
so
Well, it'd be the easiest way that they can go to Australia without disrupting
That's-
everything else.
Yeah, that's true.
there is a schedule release show, I suppose, but everything will be leaked prior to that. I saw
Yeah.
a dozen or so yesterday.
Yeah, there's a good chunk out there. Aussie NFL and NFL Nerd, those guys work together. They're pretty accurate whenever they announce the league. They're very selective on what games to unveil.
You got to get connected to the point where you could get the leaks from the league, because it's very, very clearly directly from somebody.
I honestly don't know how they do it. I guess they just
they just know somebody.
they
Well, I'm assuming it's a lot of team leaks because the
Yeah.
team is given the schedule so they can put together their
Mhm.
packages of videos and all of that stuff.
and also there's
Maybe they know somebody at the league office.
there's
I don't know.
writers, reporters that are given the schedule a couple days in advance.
Sure.
So
Yep.
they'll usually get those leaks from them.
So Parker Gabriel could be a leak for us
Yeah,
potentially. if we
potentially.
really work that source.
Well, I heard the Broncos are playing a home game on Christmas. I don't know if he unveiled anything regarding that.
I didn't see anything from.
He didn't text me at all about schedule leaks yesterday. It was instead about Robbie Snelling.
That's really weird.
Very discreet.
Yeah, I all I saw was a couple hockey tweets from Parker last night.
He's getting prepared.
Parker. Yep, the Broncos are obviously playing on week 1 against the Chiefs, but
On the road, and a lot of
Yeah,
Bronco fans
yeah,
are
they
triggered
just-
about it.
they just decided where the game was apparently like 48 hours ago.
Well, why are they triggered?
Well,
by it?
well, well, because they won the division,
That
therefore
doesn't mean anything.
I know that
It's legitimately you're home or you're away.
yeah. I honestly think
Broncos
they
and
should
Chiefs
just not care
fans.
because
dumb.
Mahomes is potentially returning, and I think why not get the road game out of the way? He's going to look rusty at the very beginning. I don't guarantee him playing in any of the preseason games.
No,
I don't know. They're triggered for stupid reasons.
No one should be triggered by their schedule today.
Except for the Chicago Bears when they're opening the season
The
at the
people
Carolina Panthers instead of the Seattle Seahawks.
Admittedly,
that
it's
are
funny.
predisposed to being triggered will
I can't-
ultimately be triggered.
That's true, and
No
that
one
would be-
else should be triggered.
That'd be every Bears fan.
I can't wait to hear what Matt's got to say during the crossover, and I can't wait for him and Austin to talk about it on Friday for his annual 1 p.m. appearance.
Well, there's really no way to, like the Bears are going to play a very difficult schedule this year,
Yeah,
and they're going to be in prime time a lot because
that's what you get for winning the
Potentially
division.
difficult schedule, but it was going to be difficult no matter what, given that the
They won the
had
division.
4 teams finish over 500 for the first time ever.
right. They won.
So,
But
no matter
they won
what,
the division.
yeah.
They get the division winning
t-shirt.
schedule. They're going to get a bunch of primetime games because people are interested in them this year. It's very, very funny that they got a noon game week 1 against the Panthers on the road.
Very fitting.
It's pretty great.
Dumb Bears.
And like you said, Schaefer, they're going to probably lose 16-15.
I mean, I don't know why it's considered less than when you get a fellow division winner. I mean, the Bears and Panthers are about the same.
That's right.
The Bears won the North, the Panthers won the South. I mean, this all tracks to me. They both have quarterbacks that are about equal.
They both had unexpectedly
Caleb
good
Williams
years
and
and
Bryce
probably
Young.
will jump back into the fray of midness this year.
Yeah,
I can't wait for that.
I think one of them more likely to jump back by circumstances than the other, but I think Chicago will have a tougher time repeating as a division champion than the
Oh, now that's a
it's gonna be
question
tough.
that would trigger our boy.
Let's save it for the crossover.
All right, remember it. Remember, I'm going to
remind
say
you.
this out loud. Which division champion has a better chance to be mid this year
Of these week
Of-
1 votes.
of these two?
Yeah.
Carolina or Chicago?
But yeah, there's several games leaked already in the NFL. We got the full Thanksgiving slate, and it's a gauntlet. So you got the Bears and Lions for the CBS game. You got the Eagles and Cowboys. The night game on NBC, Chiefs and Bills.
Pretty
Oh,
good.
wow.
Pretty
CBS
good.
finally gave up that game.
Wow. That is pretty good.
Then Black Friday is going to be the Broncos and Steelers. Then
And
obviously
we have
Thanksgiving
stupid
Eve.
Thanksgiving Eve.
I'm not a fan of it.
I don't
Packers
understand.
And Rams.
Well, they are on a quest to take over every single day of the calendar.
I say let them. I don't care. You'll watch it. I'll watch
wonder-
Of course I'll watch it. That's not the point.
I wonder
What's the point?
The point is they can do it and they know it, and I don't want to watch. I don't want to be burdened with football every day. I want a
You-
day off.
They're giving you free will.
they're giving John Bishop. a
No,
game.
they're not. I have to watch it.
John Bishop's got a Friday
In
game,
no
a Thursday
world do
game,
you
and a Wednesday.
have to watch Broncos Steelers. You're choosing
No.
to watch
No,
Broncos
it's Rams Packers.
The
Oh.
Wednesday game. He's mad
I
about
thought
the
you said
Wednesday
Broncos
game.
Steelers. was
That's the
win.
That's Black Friday game.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The Thanksgiving Eve game is Packers and Rams on
Okay.
Netflix.
That's a better game.
I know.
A much better game.
I'm going to watch it. Of course,
Well,
I'm
yeah,
going to
I
watch
mean,
it.
I'll probably watch both of them.
I'm going to watch a lot of almost every NFL game this year because that's what we do.
I
as a
was-
society.
you also got Red Zone, so you could get access to all the games.
But not on Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
That's
Not
where
on,
you just watch the game.
I'll just
Oh.
watch the game.
So I was just thinking about our dear friend Josh. His Thanksgiving, they're just going to have to spend apart. Those
Yep.
two can't watch the Cowboys and Eagles together.
No, they cannot.
It's well, I don't know. Maybe I'll just have to invite Josh over to my family Thanksgiving. He can just watch the Cowboys.
But maybe we all go to John's house or Joey's house or something like that. We watch Packers Rams on Wednesday night, and then Josh just stays there.
Oh, that's a good idea.
For Thanksgiving.
It's a nice safe spot for him.
Well, I'll have family over for Thanksgiving, so he definitely is going to have a great
Crowded
meal out
house,
of it.
yeah.
John's house it
A
is.
crowded,
we're going to
crowded
John's.
apartment.
Road trip to Lincoln.
All right. So it is Christmas for Joey. There's going to be leaks throughout the show. He's going to be like, whoa, 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 whoa. And then maybe like not be paying attention at a variety of different times. But we're excited for that. And we will pass anything along to you if it is deemed important by the totality of the Happer and Schaefer show. Today, Brian Christopherson will join us coming up at 8:30. Max Olson coming up at 9:15. That is the lineup. We'd love to hear from you all. 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. You can call or text that number. Tweet at us at @HappenSchafe, at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. Email Connor, Mike, or Joey at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And we say good morning to our YouTube streamers this morning, including Matthew, who says, just wanted to give props to Joey for his Wacky Guess Wednesday segment on Matt's show yesterday. Fantastic job, kind sir.
Yes.
That
was eventful.
It does seem to be a growing corner here where guests go on Matt's show and then they just yell at each other for 15 minutes. And I gotta be honest with you, I do like it.
Yeah, no, the Severe and Matt segments are must listen, and it's not even football season.
Someone compared my appearance yesterday to an annual Severe and McMaster segment, so I got to tune into more of that.
Yeah, no, I cannot wait for football season with those two.
I saw
so much yelling about who knows football more, and it's great.
I saw the picture of Connor snap of Severe in the car yelling on the video stream. So I could tell how intense they can get.
That was a couple weeks ago.
He didn't even break stride.
Amazing.
Didn't even break stride. Just continued to yell at Matt. One acknowledgement. He's like, "Oh yeah, there's Connor. He just found me in the middle of the wild. Oh, by the way, you're an idiot for thinking this." It's great. They're not even disagreeing with each other on really the basis of what they're arguing about. They just like yelling at each other.
They were yelling about a difference of one win between the Saints.
It's perfect.
Over, under, and then like what Michael thinks the Saints are going to be able to do.
Yeah. Michael was excited about how the schedule laid out or whatever it might have been. And I saw Matt's tweet and he was like, "Yeah, you're too high on Shuck," or something.
And Michael's not in. He's not high on Shuck at all. No,
it was amazing. Shuck,
I can't wait for Saints and Bears.
Terrific stuff.
A week before Thanksgiving, a bloodbath between Severe and McMaster.
Elsewhere today on the show, we have I Have an Opinion. Send in your opinions. All the previous ways that I just listed into the show. We will open that up at 8:00 today. Elsewhere, we'll talk about some Nebraska football topics today, including the one that we left on the table yesterday that we just set you right up for, and then we just left it. We got warmed up in the bullpen, and then we did not get called into the game. How well positioned is Nebraska to get back to their identity in 2026? A lot of Anthony Calandria talk yesterday. A lot of it.
Have you figured out that quote yet?
The quote from the On3 story?
Yeah.
About how he wants to win a national championship?
Yeah, but the way that it's phrased is so confusing.
It is very confusing.
Like 6 times.
I was more confused by a different arm to this story that I will explain during the show today. The NCAA has come up with a terrible idea that I'd like to share with you all.
They're terrible.
That needs to be a weekly segment.
Oh, the NCAA's terrible idea of the week? That's a great idea. Last week, it was expanding the basketball tournament to 76. This week, it's making soccer happen over 2 semesters.
Oh, yeah. I heard about this yesterday.
Which I got to be honest, I don't, as someone who doesn't follow college soccer much, you're going to have to explain to me why this is terrible.
Well, just think about a season that ends without a championship, and then it just restarts again several weeks later.
So it's not just one continuous season?
That's right.
It's 2 seasons?
It's 1 season, 2 semesters.
Well, the basketball does that.
No. There's a break. Basketball, there's not a break.
What, are they going to have a transfer window in the middle?
I don't know.
Sounds like they got a
emulate
break.
The actual soccer?
I do not know. 18 contests in the fall, and then going until Thanksgiving, and then the spring segment will begin in mid-February, and they play a maximum of 10 contests before the tournament starts.
Okay. This seems...
That sounds like a terrible idea.
I'm not sure who's
They're terrible.
This,
yep,
okay.
Well, that's the NCAA. Bad idea of the week strikes again. Happy schedule release day. Jim Phillips has an idea. Jim Phillips, the commissioner of the ACC.
Northwestern's Jim Phillips.
Yes, formerly known as. Also, Extra points, Matt Brown fully has Nebraska's non-con schedule.
All right.
This is a great way to get a basketball non-con schedule. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
No, I haven't.
So you don't know about New Haven.
I know nothing.
New Haven is coming to town.
Oh, okay.
Watch out.
Let's go.
Also tonight, if you're into
Are
it,
they bringing pizza from New Haven?
I don't know. I don't even know where New Haven.
That's in Connecticut.
Yeah, but like, is it for sure that New Haven?
Oh, that's a good question.
I have no idea. New Haven University, New Haven College. I have no idea, but they're coming to town, and I don't know if it's New Haven, Connecticut. If so, I'd like them to bring their pizza.
Well, I mean, there is a University of New Haven that's a private university in West Haven, Connecticut.
We'll count it. Bring the pizza with you. Bring the pizza.
Bring the pizza.
Also, if you are a college baseball honk, we have a special presentation of ESPN Squeeze Play tonight.
Honk, honk. Oh.
Squeeze Play.
Let's go.
Schick and Rooney back rolling tonight at 5:00 for 20+ games of college baseball on the final weekend of the regular season. ACC, SEC, Big 12, and American 4.5 hours of Squeeze Play. Just a little tease, just a little tasty morsel.
I like it.
Of college baseball. Also, I will have you know that the Creighton Blue Jays play at a major league ballpark today.
Honk, honk.
That's right, 4:00, right adjacent to the most famous sports book of all time, the place where people go to place their illegal bets. Great American Ballpark. I advise them to not visit that. I got to watch the Royals lose to the White Sox last night. I thought the best part of that game was when so it's not a Royals White Sox topic. I don't have much thoughts on the Royals losing the White Sox. It just seems normal. Everyone in the division is gonna be 81-81 at the end of the year. It'll be fine. But Seth Lugo got his 1,000th career strikeout, and Jeremy Guthrie was doing the game last night with Ryan, and he immediately asked him, like, after that, I was like, Seth Lugo gets his 1,000th strikeout, and Ryan goes, "Do you know how many strikeouts you had?" And he immediately, without hesitation, was like, yes, 1,058 strikeouts. Would you know, if you pitched in the big leagues for that long, would you know exactly how many strikeouts you had? And then he asked, like, when you got your first one, who it was against, like I feel like I would know all the answer to all those questions.
Yeah, I definitely like first strikeout and who it was against. I don't know if I would know the total number of strikeouts, but maybe. I like, similar to you, I can be a bit of a data dork. I like knowing things. I like knowing biographical things. So that doesn't, I guess the thing that shocks me is that, like, I wasn't expecting Jeremy Guthrie to be over 1,000 strikeouts. Oh,
he pitched for a long time.
I know he did, but even then, I wouldn't think of him like accumulating that many strikeouts. He had sort of a late, like he got into the majors a little bit at an older age, right?
Yeah, 25.
27. Okay. Yeah, and then I just assumed it was like an 8-year career with a high of 130 strikeouts in a season.
The most he ever struck out in a season was 130. Exactly. You nailed it. But he had several straight seasons.
Yeah, I mean,
110.
A lot of it is just cumulative innings pitched.
Yeah.
Is going to get you there. But I didn't know that he was going to be I wouldn't have guessed that he was in the league long enough.
He pitched for a long time. 2004 to 2017.
Yeah, no, that is a long time. Former first-round pick of the Cleveland Guardians.
That's right.
Pretty sure.
Made his debut with the Guardians in 2004. Also famously started Game 7 of the 2014 World Series.
There you go.
And I said, why is this happening? And they're like, it's Jeremy Guthrie time. Famously, the Royals did not win that game. I would know exactly how many strikeouts I had in my major league career, regardless of how many there were. It wouldn't matter if there was 2,800 or 4. I would know the exact number.
It'd be way cooler if it was 4.
If you were just a guy, you had a normal job, you'd be like, yeah, I made the big leagues. They were like, whoa, really? How long? I'd be like, well, I had 2 starts. I had 4 strikeouts.
So Brunson and I were talking about.
I'd be fired up about that.
We were talking about Nate Fisher, who made an appearance for the Mets.
Yeah.
So and then we were talking about guys who just sort of had a cup of coffee in the majors and never made it back.
Mm-hmm.
So Nebraska's former baseball coach, John Sanders. John Sanders was brought in as a pinch runner in the only game of his entire Major League Baseball career.
Did he score?
I don't believe he scored. And so then, like, Brunson was telling me about this. And like basically he's like 20 some years old. That's when he makes it and then never comes back again. It's just nuts.
Let's see. He did not. That is crazy. One game, one singular game at age 19.
Okay, so yeah, he wasn't even 20.
So what did he do? Yeah,
I have no we couldn't.
How did he
figure
get
out
that
what happened
promotion
after that?
Yeah, so 1965 for the Kansas City A's. He played in one singular game, and that is it. That is crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's
a
wild.
literal cup of coffee.
I don't know how I don't know how you don't stick around for at least a little bit longer, especially when you make your debut at age 19, which is famously very early to make your debut.
So there's that.
And there's no stats to behold there, so he can't really show it off.
But he did make one appearance, so there is that.
I hope there's a picture somewhere.
I can ask Bruns if he came across one.
I hope, I hope for John Sanders' sake, I hope that there's a picture that he could put in his living room and said, I played in the big leagues for one game.
Yeah,
I was retired on a fielder's choice at second base or something.
Incredible.
I don't know what it was, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the thing.
He would probably remember. All right, let's take a break. We are off and rolling on a Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. We're back after this on 1620 The Zone. Plenty of contests going on online on 1620thezone.com right now as we speak, including, we always talk about the bananas and bangers and the Cinco de Mayo festival and parade. Yes, both of those things are coming up, but it's not just that. Yachtly Crew, the Black Keys, Young the Giant, Chris Stapleton, and Burt Kreischer, all coming to the Metro within the next several months, and you could win tickets to any or all 1620thezone.com. All right, NCAA's bad idea of the week. I figured we'd get this out of the way now because I wonder what it opens up to everything else. So the NCAA Division I men's soccer oversight. Now, we don't talk a lot about college soccer on this show. Now, this is not the point. They adopted legislation changing the sport's playing and practice season to 2 semesters, effective next year, not this upcoming year, by the way, August 1st, 2027. Don't know how this got, usually it gets talked about a lot and then it gets, I don't know, usually it gets out there and then people have a chance to yell at it before it actually gets adopted. But here we are. Maybe there's not a whole lot of yelling at the.
It's like the public forum of a committee.
Yes,
you have to have the public forum, and so
everyone
knows what's going to happen. The public forum exists for the people to come and yell, and then at the end of the yelling, they do the thing that they were yelling about.
Exactly.
So that's basically what
I do love the show Parks and Rec when they did the public forums and all the people from the town came and they had a variety of different complaints and they still did
best
that thing.
Town.
What a great show. Under the legislation, the Division I Men's Soccer Championship segment is redistributed across 2 semesters, maintaining current maximum contest limit of 25. Division I men's soccer teams could play a maximum of 18 contests during the fall segment, starting in late August and going till the Saturday before Thanksgiving. And the spring, did somebody say schedules? Yes. The spring segment would begin mid-February, like the time that baseball starts, with teams playing a maximum of 10 contests before the Division I Men's Soccer Championship happens, I would imagine, at some point in March or something like that. The Division I Men's Soccer Championship will be moved to spring, and the specific dates for the postseason will be determined at a later date. So, here's the reasons why, I guess. We'll let them explain it to you. A more balanced academic and athletic experience by reducing time demands on any single term. A decompressed playing season with potentially playing fewer midweek games. And then they talk about the weather a little bit and predictable weekly schedules across the fall and spring and stronger integration into campus life and deeper engagement with teammates and coaches. I'm thinking the entire time, what if they see this in soccer and then they turn it over to other sports as well? I can't imagine why they felt like stopping the season in the middle of the season was a good idea. Obviously the one attached to the real championship is the one that's going to be counted as like I don't know how you implement it where the fall season still counts. Maybe you do it like you do it in minor league baseball, where the first half champion gets a spot in a playoff, no matter what, or something like that. I don't know, but it is wild to me that you're going to take a several week break in the middle of the season to start back up. And
several month break, right?
Yeah, but several weeks, several months,
2 to 3 months.
Yeah, in the middle of the season, and then start over, and then play a championships a few weeks later.
So they're going to play more games. Is basically what this comes down to, right?
More games in an individual season.
Yeah, because you said the first half of the season could be about 18,
max 18, and then max 10.
So I just looked at Creighton's schedule. They play 21 games if you count the 3 exhibitions for 2026. Mm-hmm. So they're effectively already playing 18, which takes them into December.
Admittedly, it does get tight. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It gets tight in the fall.
So you're really not even shifting any games. You're just adding an extra 10. That's crazy.
So I'm kind of wondering if they're doing like home and home series and conference play, if they're adding more games into the spring.
I have no idea how they're gonna work it. I imagine that'll be up to the conferences to see what they're gonna try to do. And by the way, I mean, like, weather ends up being a factor at the end of the season in soccer, but it's also going to be a major factor in the springtime when you try to start the season in mid-February, much like baseball. And you're going over the top of baseball too. Like you're we're talking about in a lot of cases. I mean, in Creighton's example, in Creighton's case, for example, they have volleyball in the fall. Basketball goes over fall, but basketball is viewed as like the football of their campus, of their university. So it's a little bit separate. But you have men's and women's soccer in the fall, volleyball in the fall. You have softball, baseball, track, and golf in the spring, and that's kind of how it gets split up. I missed a few in there, obviously, but that's kind of how it gets split up. And you're talking about now splitting soccer over 2 seasons. It's a lot of extra pressure on a lot of other people. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier to do something like this when it's an individual sport like golf or like tennis or whatever. And that break actually serves as a chance to kind of recharge whatever. That's just such a long, so then I wonder what the practice restrictions are during that time period.
Great question.
That is a long time to go without your team.
Do they restart back up the same time that baseball starts back up, which is in the final week of January or
something like that? Give them a few weeks to kind of get them ready.
That's weird.
So there you go. That's the NCAA's dumb idea of the week.
You're an idiot.
Nice. Thank you, John Fanta.
Watch college baseball try to adopt something like this so they can play games in September and early October.
That's what I get worried about.
Oh, you can have your non-conference or whatever. You can have the first half of your non-conference, then come back and have some tournaments in February, then jump into conference play in March.
Admittedly, I don't know what the right I don't know what the right answer is for baseball to quote
or even softball.
Fix baseball or fix softball or whatever it is. Softball is a little bit easier, I suppose. They start earlier. It's less like time consuming, and you could put it inside.
Doesn't high school do softball in the state of Nebraska? Don't they do softball in the fall?
Correct.
Yeah,
that's correct. So I don't know what the right answer is as far as how to fix the baseball calendar and stuff like that. I just get worried when they do crap like this that they're going to see it and then absolutely bungle the crap out of it.
So I guess there's a part of me that's like the baseball schedule has sort of survived what it is. At this point, does it make sense to upheave it a whole lot as it is anyway?
There's no shortage of folks who have thoughts on it.
Oh, yeah. No, it's definitely amongst the college baseball people. It's definitely a real topic of conversation. And then it comes across in geographical lines as to how people really want.
You got crazy people like John Anderson up in Minnesota who's like, oh, let's just not have our games count and play in the summer. We'll split off from everyone else. It's like, you're the coach at Minnesota, dude. Or he was the coach at Minnesota anyway.
Yeah, no, I remember that specific proposal. I mean, he might have also been the one that was trying to push it so stuff would go into like late July.
Yeah.
At one point in time.
Yeah, he was trying to have the season over the summer, which is wild because there is still a school component, I think, to this.
Well, there's a school component. There's also just there's a lot of teams that value that summer so they can get development of their players to go play in those other leagues.
Absolutely.
You have you got to have some sort of actual endpoint that makes sense for the university and your whole system to start over the next year.
And the other thing that has traditionally happened across these sports is, like I know for example, in the fall in baseball, like in a lot of cases, your roster is going to look a little bit different in the fall than it is in the spring. Like, can that everybody's got to stay semester over semester? That's not always possible in the world that we live in. And I'm not talking about just leaving teams for athletic reasons, talking about like staying in school and all those different things. So I don't know. Like I just hope they don't look at this and are like, oh, this is actually possible. Let's just move it over multiple semesters and multiple seasons, and we'll mess around with the schedule. This is a big change.
Do you have like a strong thought on what they should do with college baseball schedule?
I do not.
Like, my strong thought is I just kind of don't want it touched. Like, at this point, I'm sort of just accepting of that it hurts things for northern teams, but that's just the best way for it all to fit.
Yeah, I think if you move it back any further than what it is right now, you're going to have to start condensing things and then changing the tournament format and things like that. And I don't want to do that. I think we have a pretty good tournament format at the moment. I don't want to mess with that.
I want things. I think it's just like a reaction to everything else changing. I just want something not change.
Just don't move it.
Just leave it alone.
I'm not super anti, like I'm not super don't touch it, but I would have to hear a slam dunk idea that would get me to be like, oh yeah, you can change this and it's fine.
I'm not like completely unmovable on it.
Yeah.
But so far, nothing has like compelled me to think that there's something better out there than just leaving it as it is.
Yeah, I mean, if you move it too far back, if you move baseball season too far back, you're bumping into some stuff. I mean, you're gonna get into real trouble in that regard. Now, there's some things that you could do as far as the draft is concerned and working with Major League Baseball and all that stuff. But once again, that's only affecting, a small percentage of college baseball.
Well, they've kind of moved it. So it's like it's not even an issue anymore. It's now in July, right?
See, I think that it's in a tricky spot. I think it's in a tricky spot now, to be honest with you. Yes, it is after the entire college baseball season ends, but it's also after the portal ends. That is very difficult, I think, at times. So, there's a way. We're talking about calendar changes all across the board. And why are we talking about calendar changes all across the board in every sport? Because in a lot of cases, they just don't work for the modern.
Well, because everything's built around an academic calendar that's so archaic and old that it doesn't fit anything. And that's all throughout society.
And then they've just like tossed in portal windows in these sports. Yeah. And it's like, well, here you go. Adjust to it,
Turns out a calendar built entirely around harvest season is not the most valuable thing in 2026.
That is why the academic schedule is the way it is.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe that's what we need to do.
We
need to go to the schools and be like, change when school is.
At some point, your kid, my kid, will likely be in a year-round school setup.
See, I never liked that, but that was just because it's so different. It seems so radical. Yeah, my cousins all had it, and on the East Coast, and I'm like, this is weird. I don't know if I think this is a good idea.
Yeah.
But I was 11 and
you're 11 and you're like, don't take my summer.
It's like, this is really weird. I said, don't take my summer, but I was also kind of jealous of them just getting 3 weeks off.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're getting roughly the same, if not more time. It's just split out and not
right.
But then you get into what happens to youth sports and all of these things.
There's no doubt about that.
Which hasn't prevented anyone from playing a ton of stuff while school is going on as it is anyway.
Facts. Yeah.
So nothing happens to youth sports.
Bet-free Mike writes in, we cannot trust the NCAA to do the right thing with any decision. That is true. But the problem is they hear from so many different
people. I didn't realize I have an opinion started because I agree with this opinion.
They hear from so many people who are trying, and we'll get into this with the playoff in a minute here, but like everybody's just trying to do what's best for them, and they're trying to present their argument like, hey, this doesn't work for us because of this, and this. And it's specific to them either because of their geographical location or their academic restrictions or what they prioritize as a school, how much staff they have, like whatever it might be. And so everybody's up there, stating their case. And so maybe the best way for the NCAA to do things is actually like, oh, by the way, we have this giant sweeping change. You better figure it out. Adjust to it. I don't think it is, but at least you lose the town hall aspect to it. Which I don't know. This is our personal town hall, I suppose. All right, we'll take a break. We will round out the hour. Still a variety of different things coming up. We could talk about the playoff situation while we're on stupidity in college athletics.
Let's do it.
Right after this on 1620 The Zone. well, all this stuff, this is all ESPN's fault. Actually, ESPN does not want the college football playoff to go beyond 16 teams, according to Jim Phillips, Big Jim Phillips, the commissioner of the ACC, the former AD at Northwestern. He says ESPN has been pretty clear with all of us that they'd like it to stay at 12, maybe 14, but no higher than 16, according to Jim Phillips, like I said, the ACC commissioner. The ACC yesterday joined along with their conference brethren and said, actually, I'd like 24. 24 teams. The Big 12 signed off on this as well, and it feels like the weird war that is just a measuring contest between the Big 10 and the SEC is the only thing that's holding this up at this point, which honestly keep going, keep fighting each other. This is terrific.
The SEC is pushing for 16.
The SEC originally wanted they're going to budge on that. Like, it's going to go to 24 because they're going to all figure out that they all stand to gain a lot by going to 24 teams, and they will.
The more teams, the better.
The stakeholders have made their opinions known at this point. The ACC and the Big 12 joined on yesterday. The Big 10 has supported a 24-team field. Greg Sankey has, like you said, backed a 16-team format that preserves conference championship games. And the SEC obviously likes their conference championship game, which I think everybody should like their conference championship game. So Jim Phillips says he wants 24. ESPN wants it capped at 16. Fox wants to expand it to 24. Fox gets an opinion on this as well. Why do you think Fox wants to expand to 24?
They get a piece of it.
They get games. Everyone wants a piece of the pie.
Is there a world where part of the SEC wanting it at 16 is to help protect their network of ESPN?
Probably.
So, and maybe it's not even help, like ESPN's pushing them to push 16.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
Everyone is compromised.
But they do have they have a legit door to hide behind in this situation, which is, I think it devalues the regular season completely, and we lose the conference championship games, which, I mean,
if we know anything about the SEC, they care a lot about the results in the regular season.
Now, here's
definitely not fictitious things like, well, that result shouldn't have mattered because we play tougher teams in our conference.
They actually don't have to hide behind the guise of pretending that the regular season games matter or don't matter. They could just say out loud, because everybody else is saying it, we think if we go to a 24-team playoff, the regular season loses value, not so much from a win-loss perspective, but from a TV perspective. The games automatically become less compelling because they matter less. And then
more teams get in.
And then the championship goes away completely, which is a game that, according to the SEC, is valued at $80 million every year. That goes away. That gets worked into the college football.
I do not care about the conference championship.
See, I don't like. I like them because, once again, it's a thing that's always existed for me. But we're talking about devaluing literally everything in college football right now and moving all of the value to the playoff. Every single bit of the value to the playoff. And so I don't blame Fox for coming out and being like, oh yeah, we want the playoff to be gigantic because we want a piece of the pie, because we know if this thing expands, then our regular season games are going to be less valuable. Michigan, Ohio State, less valuable. Every non-con game that happens. I mean, Ohio State and Texas play each other this year, less valuable, if the playoff goes to 26, which it does feel like it's going there, or 24. Sorry.
Yeah. A lot of it for me with the conference championship is it's just completely meaningless at this point anyways. The results of it don't matter. No one's held to the loss of it.
Yeah.
It used to be the way that teams would get excluded from the playoffs or from the competition.
Don't get me wrong. I like that they exist only because...
Well, I like the idea of crowning a conference champion.
Exactly.
But in the way that things are set up,
absolutely not.
I don't care for it.
And honestly, have I watched, I try to transport myself back to that day, every year. I don't really care about the Big Ten championship game. I'm a Big Ten football fan. I don't even watch the Big Ten championship game unless it's so. This year obviously it was very compelling, right. 1 versus
undefeated,
2.
Undefeated.
Yeah, but that is basically it.
It's something I have on. It's rarely ever something like I stop what I'm doing to make sure that it's what I watch.
But it used to be life or death. It's definitely not life or death
Certainly,
anymore.
when it felt like 6 different teams' fate was decided on how this game was going to go or not, 3 times across the board. But no, I mean that feels like a part of a bygone era, and they're clinging to it solely for the output, I guess, of the finances of it.
Yep. So you guys don't need to hear this again, but I'm going to say it again anyway. These people do not care about the sport at all. They are each they're just looking out for themselves. They are looking for a piece of the pie, and they're doing what is best for them, for their conference at any given moment. They're not doing what's best for the sport. And they figure, all right, well, if we can make a gigantic playoff, fantastic. The Big 12 can get more teams in, and the ACC can get more teams in, and we can, Fox can get richer because they get subcontracted games, or they get to go back to the negotiating table and redo the entire rights format for the playoff in general. Everything is going toward that. See, I actually think, like I said, it's really short-sighted, because when you devalue the entire rest of the regular season, you're going to end up taking a bath on that a little bit as well. And every piece of importance that exists in college football goes toward the playoff, even though it will be a giant check and a giant playoff. I do think you're losing money elsewhere that you are not anticipating.
Could you push back slightly, though, that you're actually creating more value for some games where teams that would have otherwise just been out of the entire picture now have something to play for, even if it's at a smaller stake of being the 17th seed?
No, because I don't think you can think about it in September. I just don't think, like, you're too far away. It's like baseball. Half the teams make the playoffs. I'm not even considering the playoffs until July. It devalues everything. It devalues the entire regular season.
See, I look at it more like Penn State has the sort of September they do. They can still rally to finish out October and November, and then are a compelling team that are in the playoffs.
That's true, but it's not. That's
a very individual specific scenario.
There's no life or death, though. Like,
I mean,
if you lose, it's like, we lost.
There was death for James Franklin, but I get what you mean.
Right.
I get what you mean.
Not in September anyway. It was like, okay, well, they lost in September. Big deal.
Yeah. They lost to Oregon, and then I forget who the other loss was in that stretch.
Oh, this year?
Yeah, it was
UCLA.
Obviously, UCLA and Northwestern is what killed them, but there was another game that they lost before Oregon, or was that the first one?
The Oregon was the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, because they were both top 5 at the time.
Okay.
Overtime.
Whiteout game.
Mm-hmm. Disaster. So there you go. Good luck to these folks. Hope you all get a piece of the pie. Hope it's worth it for you. You've ruined the entire sport. Congratulations. We'll take a break. We'll be back 7 o'clock hour after this on 1620 The Zone. Don't mind Schaefer and I were just looking at top draft eligible baseball prospects during the break. So when you're gone, I just sit here in silence during the break, and then when you're here, I'm like, all right, let's see what Schaefer's got going on, and then he starts talking about Rock Chalowski and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, we're talking about draft prospects, sweet. I gotta get familiarized with these things because the College World Series is in a month. Exciting,
and a few of these guys will be playing in the
College World Series, including possibly Rock Chalowski. Although it would be a very number one overall seed
to not make
thing for them to not make it. Yes. I'm going to leave it out there as a distinct possibility.
Yeah,
that we don't see them this year.
It's certainly a possibility.
But it's funny because they were all here. UCLA was here. The entire team that is back this year was all here last year, and they were very, very dangerous. And they are more so this year. But you'll
get to see him in Omaha no matter what. Though.
Rock Chalowski?
Yeah,
when he gets to AAA.
Well, the Big Ten tournament.
That's true. They did make that.
That is next week.
I believe you
guaranteed one spot in Omaha as a number one.
You do get to qualify for the Big Ten tournament when you only lose one conference game the entire year.
Who got him again?
Oregon this past weekend.
Okay, yeah, there we go.
I suppose they
were
have
undefeated coming into that.
They have one more. They have one more series, I suppose, this upcoming weekend. But yeah, they're very good, and they are going to be in the Big Ten baseball tournament. I forgot about the Big Ten. Are we? Is there excitement for the Big Ten baseball tournament?
I think the excitement is one to see sort of if Nebraska and UCLA meet up, because I think that would be a very big crowd. Should that happen at kind of the right time?
Agreed.
If the draw happens. And then I think the general interest from the Nebraska side of it is, okay, let's say they go 2-1 this weekend against Minnesota. Do they have to basically win the Big Ten to then have a chance to host a regional? Do they,
I don't know.
You have no idea. You're just kind of throwing darts. So, but in a general sense, I think there's some interest. But a lot of it has now just been kicked forward to, are they going to host the regional? What happens with the regional?
This is a good thing, by the way. Now, it's been fun the last 2 years for Nebraska to go off and win that thing, especially when nobody expected them to 2 years ago.
Last year.
Or I'm sorry, last year.
Yeah.
2 years ago, they were very good.
Yep.
Last year, they kind of went on a miracle run to win it. All because of that Michigan State.
I was just thinking about it. When they went on a miracle run, I was like, that was a miracle.
I remember
Michigan
watching that at my hotel room. I'm like, there's no way that just happened.
You know those sports moments where you jolt your body just
That's exactly what I did. I literally sat up in my chair. I'm like, there's no way that's
watching my house in Lincoln and watching with my wife, and we were both just looked at each other like, that actually happened.
And then the immediate next thought is, well, they're gonna win it now. they're gonna win they're gonna not only win this game, they're gonna come back and win the entire tournament. And sure enough,
yeah, I mean it set up reasonably well, and they got massive performances. Ty Horn shut down that UCLA team.
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska's had some guys show up in Omaha that haven't been the same caliber in the regular season the last couple years. So
they had a great Will Walsh performance.
Huge Will Walsh performance against Penn State.
Did they get a really good Caleb Clark situation at some point? I feel like it was definitely Will Walsh. He was one of them, but yeah.
Well, and then Nunez, who hasn't had this sort of follow-up to what was a great freshman season.
Sorry, Devin Nunez.
He was just on fire last year in Omaha, and so the expectation was, oh, that guy's going to be something to build around.
Too much Mac Moyer.
Mac Moyer took his lunch.
Yeah.
And now Mac Moyer.
He Wally pipped him.
I'm very curious how hard he hit that ball, the first ball that was hit.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at the
Tuesday.
data, but it was over 100. Yeah.
I mean, he socked that thing. And I think if that was in Lincoln, that's at least off the wall. It's
a home run.
Yeah, I mean, that thing was just driven.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, deepest part of the field.
Yep.
Great play by it's Watsman.
Isaac Watsman.
Yeah. He's a pretty good player for him this year.
Very. Hopefully he has a big weekend for them as they take on his former school.
I was gonna say, returns back to where he was from.
Xavier, Creighton and Xavier today from Great American Ballpark, right after Reds and Nats today. And so that'll be fun. And then
they had a weird game yesterday.
Reds and Nats.
Yeah, it was 8-7.
Please tell me about the Reds and the Nats.
Just a lot of bad pitching, a lot of bad baseball, and a lot of runs. Nice. They went into extra innings.
And they're like,
both teams thought they won this game, I think, multiple times, only for the Nats to win it 8-7.
This is perfect. They were like, you know what could enhance this experience? A college baseball game afterwards.
Well, that's what you're getting.
That's what they're going to do today. All right. So we touched on this yesterday. And by the way, get in your opinions for I Have an Opinion coming up in about an hour. Tweeted us at Happen Schaefer. We got a couple on the college football playoff, and we got a couple on the text line already as well. So we will collect those and get to them in a little bit under an hour. So we stumbled upon this yesterday, and the way I sort of framed it to Sam was, why does it feel like the last two coaches have gotten away from their their presumed identities a bit, right? 2020 or 2018, I guess, with Frost, like they had a really, really strong that was what I was so blown away about it. At first, it was like, this guy is freaking confident, man. This is great. He's going to do his thing, and Nebraska is going to win games because of it. And that was what was so, I think, magnetizing about Scott Frost. They had a way to win football games. And then they just went away from it for a variety of different reasons. They went away from it. And Sam put it yesterday as they sort of just bungled the 19 team.
I mean, they definitely,
which they absolutely
that team
did. Yeah.
was so much better than how it ended up.
But it was thin. It was thin. They were walking on thin ice. Yeah.
And ultimately, they never replaced Stanley Morgan. Like, that was an issue. Part of their success in 2018, you had those two wide receivers. You never really had that again in the rest of his time there.
And then I think they panicked and were like, we have to change a lot about who we are and what we do. And this doesn't work here because of the Big Ten and whatever. And it went completely off the rails. With Matt Rule in 2023, they came in and Matt Rule gets up there and he's confident. He's like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to play defense. And, he was never specific about running the ball or the way they're going to run the ball or anything like that. But offense was always thought of as sort of an afterthought.
He was specific about one running back's inability to hold on to the football before he played in a critical drive.
He definitely was
against Minnesota.
He
was very specific about that.
He was very specific about that. But the offense was sort of an afterthought, and it was like, hey, we're going to play defense at Nebraska. This is what we're going to do. 2023 unfolds. They don't have a quarterback really at all. And honestly, it was frustrating to watch from an offensive end. Obviously, people want better offenses, but man, you knew who they were. They were absolutely tied and tethered to their defense, who came up for them time after time again. 2024 rolls around, Dylan Raiola shows up, and I think the chemistry gets thrown off, and it gets whacked out a little bit because you decide, all right, we get a 5-star quarterback, we got to get good at offense. And the pressure mounts on Marcus Satterfield, and they remove him, and they put in Dana Holgorsen, and they're like, yeah, we definitely have to get good at offense. Let's go get Dana Holgorsen, who's had high-flying offenses and stuff like that before. And they went through last year, fizzled out. Defense ultimately ended up being not at all something that you could lean on at the end of last year, and maybe it was never set up for a good 2025 in the first place. I certainly would make that argument. So fast forward to right now, and this is what I want to talk about. So right now, are they in position to regain their identity? Are they going to try to regain that identity that Matt Rule initially laid out? Really the question in essence here is, what are they trying to do?
Yeah, and that's such a tough question to answer because maybe the biggest thing that happened this offseason, and you could certainly push back and say that there's other things. You could say Dylan Raiola leaving, it's bigger than this. I think by going out and getting an established defensive coordinator, somebody that has a system of which he has employed at other places, is the biggest thing that happened for them in this offseason. When you talk about trying to rediscover an identity or to put an identity on what it is that you're doing, going from Tony White to sort of this John Butler hybrid of John Butler, Phil Snow, Matt Rule, everybody gets input, to now you're back to Rob Orich. And the big part of this is, will Matt Rule just leave that alone? I think signs are pointing to yes. I think he's been given a lot of autonomy for what he wants to do and how he wants to coach things. And that's why
Which is what Tony White got.
Yeah, right. I mean, year one of Tony White, they gave
It
him.
was Tony White.
Yeah.
It was
The problem was when things weren't as good early in year 2, there was panic and like, oh, we got to get this. We got to do this. I need to bring in my former lieutenant. Like, that was such a. I like Phil Snow a lot. I can listen to Phil Snow talk about football all the time. I don't know if it was a great move for the health of Nebraska football to turn to Phil Snow.
Clearly, it's part of the
early
reason
of November.
Part of the reason Tony White's not here.
Right. There's probably other factors with that.
There are
too.
definitely other factors.
But I think if you are betting on Nebraska rediscovering its identity, it is hoping to do so with this defensive coordinator hire that it made in December. And it's kind of fascinating because it wasn't like he was the number one choice. And I think that's fairly evident. They wanted Vince Carey's, the guy who ended up at Syracuse.
Yep.
And they pivoted. And I think where they pivoted is more interesting to me than Vince Carey's, who ended up in Syracuse, because Orich has had such a unique system. We just don't know how that's going to do in a Power 4 context. But, I mean, it was tremendous at San Diego State. It was great at Idaho. He was able to implement and got things to work right away. If he can have the sort of success that Tony White did with installing that defense, that could really help Nebraska.
Yeah, and I think my thing is this, Schaefer.
Went and got some other players to help with this transition for Rob Orich. I mean, they went out, they aggressively attacked linebacker.
Yeah.
They added to that linebacker room. They wanted to aggressively attack the defensive line. It didn't quite go how they wanted there.
See, while I'm excited about the defense and Orich and the players, I think there's a lot of good stuff. And I think that very, very obviously it will be better than whatever the disaster was at the end of last year. Like, there's little doubt about that in my mind.
Well, the team should be better than the last 3.
So that's the thing.
3 weeks.
And the thing that I think we've learned over time here, that we should pick up over time here, is that this is not an offense-defense thing. This is a total picture thing.
Yep.
And it has to make sense from top to bottom. And that you could throw special teams into that equation as well. And I said it yesterday, these last 2 coaches in particular, I think they're similar for this reason. They've both come in and they've been they've had a label attached to them, right? Scott Frost is an offensive coach. And so what we do on defense, sure, we're going to try and be as good as we possibly can be. And we're going to put people in the right position. And we're going to have great defenders and we're going to do all these different things. But when it comes down to how we're trying to win games, it's with offense. It's scoring 50 points, okay? Matt Rule is the opposite. Matt Rule came in. He had a label attached to him. He's a defensive coach. He said it out loud. Their first year, they show up and they're allowing 15 points a game?
Right.
And scoring none, but it's a defensive team. And so, not that you have to be great at one and bad at the other, but you do have to really clearly define how we're going to try and win games, how we are going to do this thing. And if you don't, then you're doing this thing where I get scared, because Frost did this, and I think Rule did it at times in 2024 and 2025, which is I've fallen into this trap and this guise of, I think we could be really good at everything. Why not have an awesome defense and the best offense? And we'll bring in Dana Holgorsen. We'll try and mix it and mash it together. I want Nebraska to start with an identity and go from there. And if it means being crappy at offense to be great at defense, then fine. Go there and build off of it. If they would have built off of, and people aren't going to like to hear this, if they would have built further and further off of what they did in 2023, whatever that meant, probably it's not going to be Heinrich Harburg going into 2024. But maybe it's Kyle McCord.
Could have been Kyle McCord.
That would have been, and
it could have been Sam Levitt in a world.
And Marcus Satterfield is your quarterback, or your offensive coordinator, and that kind of keeps going. You can live that way because you're getting better and there's consistency and continuity. Part of the problem here too is it's changed so much, and the emphases have changed over the years as well. And now you're going into this 2026 where I don't really know what they're trying to be. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish on offense. I think I know what they're trying to accomplish on defense, but
you have to make a math equation make sense when there's a whole bunch of variables that you just kind of can't account for. And that bothers me going into the fourth year.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're describing is just they fell victim to the disease of more. They needed to have more of this and more of that. And instead of the incremental building, which is sort of what the whole picture was painted when Matt Rule was here. And this is what happens, though. Like, you come to a place like Nebraska in your first season, whatever it is, the expectation is it needs to be immediately better. And then, you start to think, well, I have all of the resources. I have this, I have that. Like, our defense should be fine, so let's go invest heavily on offense. And then turns out you didn't supplement well enough defensively. I mean, both coaches are in a similar spot where, Scott Frost shows up and you have Stanley Morgan and you have J.D. Spielman, and then when those guys are no longer part of it, suddenly you have a wide receiver issue. Matt Rule shows up and you have all of these defensive linemen, and you did a nice job supplementing with M.J. Sherman and some other ones. Those guys move out. You lose Terrence Knighton and Tony White. Suddenly your defensive line is horrible.
It's a good point. It is for both these coaches, they're undoing, not that Rule's been undone yet, but their undoing has been
inability to supplement what they had inherited. To me.
I think even more so, yes, but even more so, inability to create, like, for Frost, his offense fell apart. For Rule, his defense fell apart.
Right.
Those are both of their emphases when they came in. Nebraska was, did what it did last year because of an offensive player and a really great special teams unit.
For the most part, yeah.
That's why they did they got what they were able to get last year. It was offense. It was just not defense. For
a
Frost,
lot of it was the offense stayed on the field long enough to keep the defense off.
For Frost, in the years where they were good, it was not the offense.
Right.
And so both of the emphases on either of the coaches, they didn't end up, blooming. And like you said, I think it's because of the disease of more, it's just like, we could be good at everything.
The focus goes elsewhere.
We're always going to be, Rule has said it over and over again. It's like, hey, we're always going to be good at defense. It's like, okay, you better make sure you're always going to be good at defense. You can't just say that.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, you go back and with both of these guys, there's
very clearly
hubris that you're good at this one thing, that you're going to be good at it no matter what. The problem being the conference of which you play in, you have to be a good coach. They can
very
isolate
clearly
the things that you aren't good at and make it look worse every time.
He thought, this is just reading. I don't know what he thought, but like from my perspective, he thought that he could put John Butler in charge of the defense, and because it had always been good under him, that it wasn't going to matter. We are going to play good defense. He said it over and over and over again. Clearly, you can't just put somebody you don't know in charge of your defense and have it work simply because it just has before, or you're counting on the residual effect because they were good in the 2 years prior or whatever it might. Like, you can't do it that way.
Well, you have to put actual assets into your defense.
Yeah.
And this is, again, like, not to continue to belabor this point that I've made only about 1 billion times since this show started in January. But if you put all of your assets in offense and your offensive guru can't get your offense to score more than 22 points a game against Power 4 competition, on average, you're going to suck because you didn't put those assets in your defense and you haven't built your defense up, through development, or you missed on things, or what you recruited were long burns and those long burns aren't ready to be deployed in 2025. And so now you have this offense that's entire objective is to stay on the field for a long enough time so the defense doesn't have to be on the field as much.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they, I think it was Sam said this, I've heard Michael Severe point this out. Like, part of what happened in those last 3 games, they couldn't get first downs. So then the defense is on the field all the time and they couldn't get stops on third down. And so that inverse relation just totally demolishes everything that happens in that game.
It tanked it,
and you get out of whack, and suddenly you go down 14, and Nebraska under TJ Lateef is just not built to come back. They're just not. They're built to stay in a seesaw game. They're certainly not built to, like, be on the upper point of the the seesaw and then get it to come back down.
And so, if they're going to be a defensive oriented program, we fast forward to this year, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Like, think about this equation. You put in, yes, a playmaking quarterback with, and that you have to build around him. And I think the personnel is fine. I think you have good wide receivers, and I think you are asking for somebody to step up at the running back position. But I think you have a good offensive line. You should be able to do some things in the run game. But when I look at Anthony Calandria, we'll talk about him as we go on throughout the show as well, because Mr. Show up in the On3 story yesterday. Like, I look at him and I see the big flag that says turnover next to him,
Mm-hmm.
And that's crazy to me for a team that wants to be defense first. If you're going to be defense first, like you said, you got to hold on to that football, man. Your objective as an offense is to not turn the ball over. Do everything but turn the ball over. Whether that means hold it for 7 plays in 6 minutes and just get it to the 48-yard line and punt the thing away and protect the defense. Awesome. That's great if you're going to be a defensive-oriented team. But if you're not going to be, and if you don't feel like you could be there this year, then yeah, that brings in this wide set of variables, because you're asking your quarterback to do more things, and you're asking them to go down and score points. And I don't know, once again, I don't know what they're going to.
I don't think they're going to be particularly good on one side of either equation.
I just think you have to.
They're going to be that good of an offense, and I don't think they're going to be as staunch defense.
I think you have to.
So then once again, you're stuck in this world where you're trying to middle out football games of, okay, how can your offense do enough and then play complementary football with your defense? We'll see. Like, it's especially, the challenges are obviously going to be there. You're very unlikely to win a game against Indiana, Oregon, or Ohio State if you can only score 22 points. You're very unlikely to be able to beat all the rest of those other teams if you can only score 22 points, because your defense probably isn't only allowing, 17, 18, 19 points, whatever it needs to be.
Yeah.
So you're just going to constantly be in that mode. Like, part of Nebraska always being in these close games, you're just not good enough at one of the two sides of it to carry you. You're just constantly in this, our defense is here and our offense is here, and everything we do falls in the middle of it. I think they're headed for another year of that.
Yeah. You have thoughts here on Twitter at Connor Happer, at Happen Schaefer. We'll get to those here momentarily. Also, a bunch of texts rolling in. Getting your opinions as well. For I Have an Opinion coming up in a little bit over a half hour. I want to get to your guys' responses when we return after this on 1620 The Zone. All right. Thoughts from you all. More draft prospect looking up for us during the break, which is a lot of fun. But here is what you guys think about our hashtag topic. Lane writes in, he says, I feel like they'll want to win games 35-31. It's a bit frustrating to me that we don't know, you know?
Yeah, well,
we're trying to game this out. I imagine they're trying to game it out too and figure out what they're trying to be and how they're going to do things. And some of it, frankly, I think there's some stuff in the NIL and portal era where it's like everybody's got to do a little bit of this of figuring out who they are. We talk about it in basketball all the time. Like you get the players and then you throw them all out there and you kind of see what happens. But I wish there was a little bit more of an apparatus to work from at this point. And that's why we asked the question, like, are they going to try and get back to it this year, or are they in scramble mode of trying to figure out how to win games?
Yeah, I mean, that's why, the teams that seem to have a strong grasp on this is what we're going to do are probably the ones that are the safest to bet on early in the year.
Yep.
Because you have a relative idea of this is how Iowa is going to play football.
Nick writes in at Counter Happer on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. He says, do you think it's harder to develop guys that stay in your program for 4 years nowadays with the number of coaching and player movements? Oh, I mean, definitely harder. Yeah. But it's
harder to have a deep bench of those
it shouldn't stop you from having an identity.
No.
Like, and I get it. Once again, they're trying to win games. They're trying to, like, sometimes it comes down to the really, really granular, like, how do we get first downs? How do we how do we get off the field on third down? Right. And you get really, really tied up in that stuff because it's what ailed you last year and it helps you win football games. I get it. But I think, and I never thought I'd be saying this with Rule. I just think both coaches, both of the last two, him and Frost, have sort of gotten away from the big picture. And maybe it's because of pressure. Maybe it's because they felt like, all right, we better win games now, otherwise we're bleeped. I think there's a little bit of both of that, and maybe it's because of the desire to have more. You get a 5-star quarterback.
Well, it could just be misplaced confidence, right? Like, okay, we're going to be good on defense, so I got to put my efforts into this.
Yeah,
and then turns out you're not good on defense and your efforts placed into that.
Well, then they did it's funny. They got really good at special teams last year. And now they just, from everything that we've heard, it feels like they just think they're going to be good at special teams. It's just like that belongs to them now, which that feels a little dangerous.
Right. Yeah. That one's,
it's got some hubris to it.
I will say I have no expectation they're going to be 2024 level bad.
Right.
I also don't know that they're going to have sort of the game flipping results of, Kenneth Williams returning the kick against Northwestern or Jameer Khan getting that block against Michigan State. Doesn't mean they can't. Those players certainly can be reformed or whatever. It's just that some of this is that Mike Eckler came in, said, I'm going to do this. And for at least 9 games, it felt like that's what they did. Now, there did feel like there was a drop at the end of the year. Do with whatever you want with that.
Sure.
But, yeah, I mean, it feels like they take at least a slight step back on special teams. Maybe not, though. I mean, you have your specialists largely decided. You're usually fine.
I just hope they don't think like, because we heard a little bit of this.
I just hope they fair catch kickoffs.
I hope the main picture is, well, we were good at special teams last year and we're going to be good again this year. That's what it felt like after Eckler left. I don't know. You're not entitled to that, clearly.
Right. And I want to leave a world where, it could just work really well with Brett Maher and the guy whose name I'm never going to remember. Nick.
Me neither.
Nick. Coach Nick.
Coach Nick.
Are we sure it's Nick?
No.
Right now it's special teams. Mike Eckler crossed out. Oh, no.
That's what it says on the board.
It's not updated.
Nope, it is not. I'm going to find out the answer for you.
I can't think of this guy's name to save my life. He played for Mike Eckler at Tennessee.
Yep.
I want to say it's Nick
Humphreys.
Nick Humphreys?
I didn't even see it, but I think it's Humphreys.
Okay.
Humphrey?
Nick Humphrey.
Yeah, that's my guess. Man, there's so many people on the staff. It is Humphrey.
Look at that.
Boom! Thank you.
First name, last name. We got it.
Special teams coordinator.
With Brett Maher, where we didn't have to work as hard.
We know about Brett Maher.
We do.
Back to the text line we go. Here is Doc. Negative. Doc is usually very negative. Doc says Rule is treading water. He has no vision. The only thing he is good at is looting the university with Dannon. I do wonder about his vision. I don't think he's looting the university. People get off on the wrong thing with this stuff. Like, he is absolutely trying to Frost was trying until he wasn't, right?
And it was very obvious when he was.
Right. And that wasn't until the very end,
right.
Like the last year, 2022. Rule is not going to work out because of a lack of effort, and that he just sits there and collects his $10 million check, puts $2.5 million toward his LLC, and then dips out. That's not what he's doing. He's trying, and the effort gene is absolutely there. And part of the reason why I think it seems so frenetic at times, which is crazy, because the draw with Rule was that it was unfrenetic, and that it was constant and consistent as every day, and we just have to be we got to do the same thing every single day. I think the reason that at times it feels so frenetic is because they feel like they gotta win, and they are trying so hard. So it's not that. Like, don't do that. But ultimately, is there enough there to be able to see the identity through, or figure out what it is and then see it through? Like, I don't know. Ultimately, are they good enough? I don't know. I have my doubts, but it's not because they're not trying.
Yeah, no,
it's not because
effort is not the issue.
We don't have to. I don't know if that's exactly what Doc was saying, but it felt like we were headed down that road. John writes in, let me sum up this entire segment for you. What you were saying is Matt Rule is not a good coach and is in over his head. No, I think
Not saying that.
They've gotten sidetracked. I think they got sidetracked.
Literally, as we've said, the same for pretty much every coach that's come here.
Yep.
You come here with the thought of doing X, Y happens, then you sort of switch to Z, and then everything's a mess. I ran out of letters, but the general idea is what it was.
X, Y, Z. You needed a couple more?
Well, I could have borrowed back at A.
Go back to ABC.
Back yeah.
Lane says maybe he just isn't good enough. Maybe what we are seeing is that, all he can do in today's college football. Maybe.
It's quite possible.
Maybe. But I just wish, the same thing I wished for Frost. Like, I wished for Frost that we got to actually see his vision through. And for some reason, it diverted.
I feel confident in saying he wasn't going to be good enough in the Big Ten.
That's probably true.
I don't have enough evidence to say that about Matt Rule. I'm not willing to say that about Matt Rule, I guess, at this point.
But I don't like the fact that they've gotten sidetracked.
Yeah, no,
I don't like the fact that we are talking about identity here in year 4.
Yeah, absolutely. I concur entirely.
And so maybe it is too late. Like, maybe at the end of the day, it's and they'll never be able to. At the same time, you look at the contract and the buyout, and you're like, well, he's got time, so you might as well reset this thing and go from there. Greg,
not a reset.
Greg and Hastings says, so you're saying it's a reset? I actually am, but I know that people don't want to hear that. It is definitely a reset. It should be a reset.
It feels like a reset.
It's really. I don't understand what's so bad about saying that it's a reset.
He doesn't want it called a reset.
Why not? The last 2 years were bad.
Ask him.
I don't get it.
They're terrible.
They're terrible.
So
they weren't terrible.
This is the thing. The last 2 years weren't necessarily bad. They just weren't good.
Yeah. No, I agree. They were not terrible. They were just bad.
They're terrible.
No.
They made you feel bad because it didn't feel like there was the upside there.
Yeah.
Instead, it just felt like they're a middling team. Kind of where it feels like this season.
So I don't see what's so bad about saying that it's a reset.
Yeah, look, I just know that he doesn't want it called a reset.
Why can't he be, why can't he do one of his cool speeches that he used to do and come out and be like, look, we're getting back to our roots, baby.
He's saving them for the podcast whenever that gets released.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. I am saying it's a reset, Greg. That's exactly what I'm saying, actually. Sit Destroyer writes in, he says, so it's going to be really funny when special teams implodes this year because they think they can have essentially 2 coordinators and that they'll be okay. Well, we'll see. We will see. Fremont Fred said, how are we still discussing needing an identity 4 years in with a program building?
Great question.
Yeah. It's a tremendous question.
Because they sacrificed their identity to chase offensive football that never happened.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that.
It feels like you're exhausted with this conversation.
No. I mean, I'm not. I'm really not. It's just we're in that period where it's like you either already are predisposed to thinking everything's going to be bad, as in the special teams have to be terrible because it's not Mike Eckler, or, that this is going to happen and that's going to happen, and we're still like 3 months away from anything.
I get bought. It just feels like going into 2026, they're not coming at it from a position of strength, right?
Well, they're definitely not.
You're clawing.
Because I'll ask you this.
You're clawing because everybody around you has an established identity and everybody around you is beating you and all these, like, you're just scratching and clawing for everything. I mean, think about how they had to scratch and claw for wins against Maryland and Michigan State last year and stuff like that. Like, you should have,
UCLA.
These are programs. I mean, Maryland's going to have a new coach after this year. Michigan State has a new coach this year. Like, these are programs that have undergone way more upheaval than you have and haven't been able to establish identities. And yet you can't stay comfortably ahead of them because you're scratching and clawing for all the stuff that you have to scratch and claw for, right? Like, look at it that way. And meanwhile, Minnesota and Iowa have completely separated from you in terms of operating from a position of strength.
So even when they're not particularly good, Minnesota last year, you still get completely rocked because they, to a core,
operating from
knew
a
what they
position
were
of
going to
strength.
do, and you did not.
Scratching and clawing.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a tough spot to be.
It's like being down 5-0 in a baseball game. You're like, we can come back. This is doable, but we have to go away, take some risks. We have to go away from some of the stuff that we believe in, and we got to find a way to get 1 run here, and then 2 runs here, and then 3 runs here, and then all the while you forget about all the previous games prior to that and what makes you who you are.
Yeah. Now, I will say, if there's an inherent difference between Scott Frost and Matt Rule and their approach to, as they've gone through a very similar scenario, if you are a glass half full type individual, you're looking at this and you're saying at least Matt Rule is trying stuff. He is trying to, he's brought in a different defensive coordinator after it clearly wasn't working last year. He brought in Dana Holgerson to try to figure that out. Like, there's an effort level here that, again, tells me, like, he obviously wants to win. He cares. He's not leaving any stone unturned. Whereas it took Scott Frost until the end of the disastrous 2021 November, and more or less Trev Alberts being like, you can't bring back your staff, to go out and get different people.
Yeah.
And then that was its own form of disaster. But I guess, if you're looking at this and you want to be like, all right, why could things work out differently? 1, they're already at a better place than where that previous team was. 2, he's at least efforting and trying to do something instead of just plugging his ears and saying everything is fine. I do appreciate that.
You could make the argument, though, that they've tinkered too hard.
Well, that's all of this falls in this weird, like, knife's edge, right?
Totally.
You either are put your head down and you go to work and you continue to be who you're going to be, even in the face of all the criticism, or you respond to the criticism by making the changes that you believe that are necessary, that you think are going to push you over the top, or you make so many changes that you actually tinker yourself out of what could have been a successful situation. Mm-hmm. We don't know what any of those 3 could potentially be until they, undergo it. So you never have the benefit of foresight. It always comes through in terms of hindsight and then a narrative that you build to attach with.
Little reactive, right? Not operating from a position of strength.
Right. Yeah. And it's hard to operate from a position of strength because you haven't figured out how to find strength.
You're reacting. You're just, it's too reactive.
You're just still in the build. They haven't gotten to where they found a plateau.
Somebody said from the 402, if we reset, we die. They are resetting it, but don't tell him that. Let's take a break. We will have
we just changed the word on it.
We're going to reset and take a break. Is that what you were saying?
Oh, no, I said respawn.
Respawn. Yeah, a whole new.
Yeah.
That would be worse, actually. Probably.
Seems like it would be.
Yeah. Get in your opinions, by the way, for I Have an Opinion. You got a few of those. We could use several more. 402-951-1620. We'll open that up at 8 o'clock. As far as the next segment, it's the headlines on 1620 The Zone. All right, once again, we're collecting your thoughts for I Have an Opinion coming up in about 10 minutes, so get those in, whether it's the text line or Twitter or YouTube comments. We will attempt to get to everything. Joey, what are the headlines looking like today?
Okay, the first headline, Japan robot wolves in high demand to scare off bears.
Okay. Interesting. They've deployed the robots to scare off the bears in Japan.
But what happens when the robots turn on the people?
Great question.
That
Maybe
is a
we'd have
good
to click
question.
on the article to find out.
Second one is French police warn drivers to beware of drunken deer.
Drunken deer.
Apparently they can be drunk. There's a video on the link, which
Does this make them? I think we're going to go to the first one here, but I do have a question about the drunken deer. Like, they're already very unpredictable. The
Right,
deer
yeah.
in their second to second decision making, right?
Yeah.
What does this do to
Does
them?
it slow their reaction time?
Right, I don't know.
So instead of deer in the headlights, they're just drunken deer in the headlights?
I feel like that makes them more safe.
So anyway,
less likely to dart out in front of things?
Yeah.
to answer your question, the video shows the deer in a field just running in circles after eating fermented fruits. That's basically the whole
Fermented
Predictable.
fruits. Wow.
Predictable.
Forbidden fermented fruits.
Interesting. Okay. All right. We're clicking on the first one here, but I'm curious about that. Japan robot wolves in high demand to scare off bears. Oh my God. That is terrifying.
That is terrifying.
A Japanese company is making ferocious looking robot wolves. It's being swamped by orders after record numbers of fatal bear attacks on humans last year. Wow. Really? Monster Wolf is an animatronic scarecrow with flashing red eyes that howls and growls menacingly to scare away wild animals. They should try those owls that you put in your backyard to scare away the birds.
Those owls are so worthless.
Everybody has the owls.
They don't work.
They don't work at all.
I had a bird literally land on the owl.
The owls, they figure it out in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this is weird. Why
You
is there an
need
owl here?
noises to scare away the bird.
Noises. That's right. Monster Wolf is made by Ota Saiki, who is a Japanese-based firm that makes the devices. Has already received around 50 orders this year, more than the usual volume for an entire year. Quote, we make them by hand. We cannot make them fast enough now. We are asking our customers to wait 2 to 3 months. That's what the president of the company told the writer of the story here. Awareness of bear safety and measures against wildlife damage on farm products improved. There was also a growing recognition that our product is effective in dealing with bears. Orders come mostly from farmers, operators of golf courses, and people working outside in rural areas such as construction. Apparently, bears killed 13 people across Japan.
The hell, bears?
Over 2025 and 2026, more than twice of the previous high. More than 50,000 bear sightings were recorded nationwide, more than double the previous record set the 2 years before, according to official data. The animals were seen entering homes, roaming near schools, and rampaging through supermarkets and hot spring resorts on almost a daily basis. Japan has a bear problem.
Wow.
It appears. And so enter the scarecrow robots that they can now not make fast enough to try and scare the bears away.
So this is a dumb question. I acknowledge it's a dumb question. Bears are indigenous to Japan?
Bears are in Japan.
Well, yeah, no, I get it.
I don't know where they come from, but they're in Japan.
Did someone just release a bear
I don't think
population in
I don't
Japan?
think somebody from Canada like brought a bunch of bears over, planted them, and then said, "Go ahead, go crazy."
I do wonder if this happened in the olden times. They just
Probably.
they bear farmed.
That would be quite the
the water levels were much lower.
I mean,
Well, they could have, I guess, swam. Well, that's a lot. No, I mean that's a. How do
You
bears
could
get to
they probably
Japan?
could come.
you could start a war. Like if we took a bunch of our bears and just put them in a different country, and we're like, "Here, take these bears."
The World Cup, but with bears.
That would be messed up. That'd be seriously messed up.
Very messed
Yeah,
up.
like if somebody wanted to take their bears and put them in America during the World Cup, I mean, that would be a bad look, and it would not go well. All right, let's take a break. I have an opinion. It's coming up next. We have solved all the world's bear problems. Certainly, this will.
except for Matt.
This will.
They
help.
migrated over from Asia.
Back
other
after
parts of
this.
Asia.
There you go. On 1620 The Zone. All right, it's time for I Have an Opinion as we welcome you back for the 8 o'clock hour of Happer and Schaefer. You're on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. By the way, Nebraska baseball plays today at 2 o'clock instead of the originally scheduled later than 2 o'clock because of weather, I believe. And then the BTN will be there today, so you can watch them on the TV.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Televised baseball.
Lacrosse season must have ended.
We haven't gotten an update from our intrepid lacrosse reporter.
They were in the tournament, right? So I think it's over, and they were like, now that it's over, we're bored. Let's go do a couple baseball games.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Good job by them. All right, let's get to your opinions. Lots of ways to get those in at Happen Schaefer on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. You can tweet at either of us, at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer. You can text 402-951-1620, or you can send us an email, connormike@1620thezone.com, or you can leave a YouTube comment. Okay, let's get to all of them. Here, let's go to Twitter first. Twitter eats first today. Let's go back to, I want to make sure I didn't miss anything from earlier. Yeah, all right, we're good. Mark, Omaha, I have an opinion. Omaha is in a secret contest with other cities to have the most road construction at one time. Congrats, you are winning. Also, simply putting up barrels with no equipment or manpower making my drive miserable should be considered in your contest. So I've oftentimes, we don't think about these things rationally because we are just the drivers on the road.
Sure.
But there truly is few things more frustrating than when you go through an entire length of a construction zone
And nobody's there.
Nobody's there.
Yeah.
And the road is in perfectly
Annoying.
great condition that is being blocked off. It's just being prepped to be worked on or whatever it might be. Nothing more frustrating than that. And I do believe we are winning this contest.
I assume this contest is largely with other northern or midwestern cities that experience the freeze thaw of the winter, and then it's the
Potholes.
the potholes, the
Yeah, but do
general
other-
deterioration of your roads.
Are other Midwestern cities making a streetcar?
I think that's a separate thing, but I obviously
It still
adds
adds
into
to the
all of it.
construction. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, anytime you're doing development, anytime Lincoln was putting in a new empty giant building downtown and they had to shut down multiple lanes of streets to do so, you would certainly have that. No, I wouldn't be surprised if such a contest exists. I just think a lot of it's going to be northern Midwestern places.
We may be winning.
It's possible.
We're definitely
Is
winning.
it winning or losing?
No, it's a contest. We're winning.
But the winners are the losers also.
That's right. It's like the biggest loser,
Wow.
We're winning the biggest loser contest.
but the opposite. Here's Alan. I have an opinion. Wrapping paper is the most pointless thing and a waste of money. Hey, here's something I'm going to hide for a second. Then you'll make a pile of trash and have a gift. Just put a bow on it.
Great opinion. I hate wrapping paper. I am not good at wrapping presents for Christmas. That's why I just go to the store and get a bag and just get a little piece of paper, just cover it up. It's easy as that.
You guys are out on presentation.
I don't have any problem with wrapping paper. I'm a terrible gift wrapper.
Like, is it
It's just a
practical?
headache.
No, of course it's not
It's
practical.
just a headache
But
trying to make it look good.
Gifts in general aren't practical.
Agreed.
You know, at least I don't want them to be. If I'm asking for a gift, or if I'm getting a gift around Christmas time or whatever it is, I want something that I wouldn't normally spend my money on. You know, I want something that I wouldn't normally buy, and then wrap it up in I don't know. You go along with the guys a little bit and go along with the show. Sure, put it in some wrapping paper. I don't have a problem with wrapping paper.
So the addendum on this for me is if it's not wrapping paper, I still want whatever it is covered up, because I do like the element of not knowing what something is until you unwrap it or debag it or whatever it would be, unbox it.
Yeah,
any of these things. But yeah, give me that element. I don't really care if it has the paper or not. Mostly because I am also not very good at wrapping. Like,
no, I'm not.
I go
either.
out of my way to avoid not wrapping stuff.
Yeah, Joey, just because you're not good
Or
at
just
wrapping the thing doesn't mean you have to delete all wrapping paper.
The people that are good at wrapping, I like getting a nicely wrapped gift.
Me too.
I mean, it's nice, but I hate it when I'm in charge of wrapping something.
Okay, but let me change your shoes here. What do you think about unwrapping a gift? Is that fun for you?
I mean, it depends on the
It has to be.
Depends.
You love unwrapping a gift.
You don't know what it's going to be.
It's
How
a
could
mess.
it depend?
It's a mess.
Of
It's
course.
a mess.
Throw it away.
It is not a mess.
It's a mess.
You don't have.
Do
It
you
doesn't have
unwrap
to be
like
a
a little
mess.
child?
Yeah.
You tear it in strips? Or are you like a grown adult and you take it and it's largely just a functional piece of paper?
I take it as a big functional piece.
You love
Yeah. So how's it
unwrapping
a mess?
gifts.
And then you can now. Do you crumple it up and throw it at family members? And it gets a little messy.
I do not.
That's
I do not.
fun. That's
I
called.
think it's fun. Joey seemed.
I'm out on it.
horrified
Do you
by
throw
that
it in?
idea.
Do you throw it into the trash can and say Kobe?
No,
That's
no,
fun.
I just set it in there.
No, you got to shoot it into the hoop like a basketball.
Are you excited about this era of just having the trash bag and being on every family member to throw stuff away now that you're a dad?
I am.
Brunts will send me the memes of that.
I'm
before
going to
Christmas
steer
all the
in
time.
very, very hard to my dad isms.
that trash.
I've already been doing them for a very long time. Nick writes in. Oh yeah, he was talking about the owl from before. It's not really an opinion, but it was a comment on the owl. My kid loved the owl. Would take the owl's head off and carry it around when he was younger.
Whoa.
That's what I would do too, honestly. Tyrell, I have an opinion. NHL playoff seeding should be done by points, regardless of division winners. Allow the same qualifiers, top 3 in division, plus 2 wild cards, but then seed it 1 to 8 based on points. That sounds great. That sounds fine to me.
Doesn't the NHL, they have like a unique thing where they reseed after the first round, right?
I don't know.
They don't have like a normal bracket.
Well, they have like 4 quadrants of like 4 teams, and they see them 1 to 4. So I would assume so. I don't know, but it's kind of complicated on how they run things in the postseason.
He says they take top 3 in division plus 2 wild cards.
Okay. But I always thought they reseeded or something after the first round. So like,
I don't know.
but again, it doesn't really matter because after the first round this year, it was all 1s and 3s, which is kind of fascinating. No 2s won. And no 4s won.
I agree, Tyrell, out of lack of knowledge. Seed them based on, do the whole thing based on points. Make the playoff based on points. Here's Kyle. I have an opinion. I really enjoy the idea of moving the Bears to Japan. Sounds like it'd be better for everyone that way. I can't. It's unclear whether he's talking about the Chicago Bears.
He's talking about
You could be talking about the
Bears.
Hammond Bears.
I think he's just talking about. Maybe he's just talking about Bears.
All the Bears?
Yeah. What if we dumped all the Bears in Japan?
I don't think Japan could handle all the Bears.
exactly.
There's a lot of
That
people
would
in
be a
Japan.
problem.
A war would be waged.
Wait, are we starting a war by dumping bears on Japan?
I would like to see somebody fire the opening salvo of the war by dumping off 100 bears in the country that they're fighting a war, that they're trying to fight a war against.
We're removing our army and instead sending in bears.
Absolutely.
I mean,
we can respond with an
it's
army.
somehow both more humane and less humane, and I'm amazed by that. I mean, it's humane in that you're taking humans out of harm's way. It's less humane in what you're doing to other things in nature.
Think about it, though. That message is received loud and clear. You drop off 100 grizzly bears in a country and you just let them go ham and then you dip out. That's message received. Okay. Now they might respond by bombing you, but
Now-
we can respond
boy.
after that.
Do you spend time training the bears against the robot wolves? So that way, like,
That is a
they're
good point.
less, less.
You
thrown
mean
off.
to be prepared for a counter bears
Well, yeah, because
attack?
assuming you release all these bears, they're going to release all the robot wolves, and so you've got to. I think you want to be ready for that first counterpunch.
They clearly can't manufacture the robot wolves fast
as
enough
quickly
to
as
keep,
you can get
to
bears
keep the
over
bears
there,
away.
yeah.
I'd be worried about a counter bear strike.
Now, are you sending the bears?
What if they dropped a bunch of bears in New York City?
What kind of ship are you sending the bears on? Are they all in cages?
I think it's a
Are
helicopter.
the bears free to move around the ship?
I think it's a helicopter
Oh, your helicopter!
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
you
you
can't get
carry
many
them-
bears
or
in
a
a helicopter.
big cargo plane.
You strap
Or you carrying them in a giant cage,
Giant.
and then you release the cage as you drop to the ground. Interesting.
Yeah. I think you go air.
For a brief moment, I had an image of a bear wearing a helicopter helmet, and it was pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie.
Hopefully no bears get lost on the transportation to the other country.
Yeah, we're not worried about what happens when they get to the other country,
That's right.
but we want them there safe.
Not our responsibility. Gus Mohawk writes in, I have an opinion. I think if Omaha was to get a pro team, hockey would work out the best in the great city of Omaha.
That's been kind of a popular opinion.
What would make it work out the best? Like Omaha could be like, I could see Omaha being an NHL city. I think Omaha would embrace whichever.
That's how I've always come at
got.
this.
Yeah.
Like whatever the first professional, like actual professional top sports league team that would be in Omaha would be embraced and celebrated.
Yeah, I think
and beloved.
I think they're most likely to get a hockey team because they seem likely to expand to a city like Omaha.
Sure.
I don't know why. I don't know what that's based off of, but Omaha would do well with anything. I think.
Yeah, I think Omaha would kill it with an NBA team. I think Omaha would kill it.
They used to have an NBA team.
I do think, I will say, the hardest one would probably be
some of an NBA team.
Baseball, because it's, the 81 games component.
Try to get
but now stadiums are like 4 people, they have like capacities of 12,000,
Sure, yeah.
so you could jack that thing full every night.
Well, yeah,
Put it downtown.
You'd probably have like a 32,000, but that'd be tough to fill all the time.
Yeah.
In the NBA would be what, 41 home games? How many games do they play in the NHL regular season?
Same amount as basketball.
Yeah,
right?
I think the same amount.
80? Yeah, I did have that bracket pulled up. I could have looked at, I guess. So yeah, I just don't know that I think any one of them would do that much better than any of the others. I guess
I agree.
Sort of where I come in at it. What would you be most interested in?
Well, that's just a personal preference, right?
Yeah. Well, I have an opinion.
Baseball.
It'd be baseball for me as well.
And then NBA, and then hockey.
See, and then after that, I think the one I pretty clearly don't think would ever work would be the NFL.
I don't even honestly include that.
It's not an
they got Kansas
entertaining
City
thing. I'd probably go NHL then NBA, but I don't know for sure. I think my interest drop would be
NHL would work the best
large.
just because there's a lack of teams in this particular area.
I think that's part of it too.
The
NBA, there's other than
because Kansas City doesn't have one. The closest one for NHL is the Minnesota Wild, and then you got the Blackhawks, then Colorado, and then
same thing with the NBA.
Yeah. Other than the Thunder would be a little closer. You'd have Nebraskans go take over the Paycom Center for NBA games.
The now defunct.
That would be fun.
Well, we don't know when it'll be defunct.
About to be defunct soon.
I can't wait to go.
Would you enjoy SGA on an Omaha NBA team? That would be a question.
I would love an Omaha NBA team. I think it would be awesome.
Like I said, I think I'd support any of those. Like I don't have a favorite team in either of those sports, so it'd be a pretty easy transition for me.
Let's go to the text line. Here is Matt. I have an opinion. Unless you are a semi-truck or a truck with a long trailer, you do not need to turn left in order to turn right. Your tiny car, your Super Duty pickup truck are going to make it just fine. Do not swing the front end of your vehicle out into the other lane to give you extra space that you do not need to turn. I have a truck with a long bed. It's not necessary. Thank you for that heads up, Matt. We appreciate it.
I offer no notes.
I do see some people do that. No. Like they're trying to make a tight right turn. They're like swing it out to the left. I'm like, I don't think you need to do that. You're not driving a bus.
You're going to be okay. Just get through the turn. Stop slowing everyone else down.
Text from the 402. I have an opinion. Driving through eastern Colorado is worse than driving through western Nebraska.
There's absolutely nothing over there. I can attest to this.
You expect to see nothing with the flat contour of Nebraska. You expect to see mountains in Colorado, but you have to drive hours until you see them.
No.
That on top of western Nebraska just being more pretty than eastern
100%.
Colorado. Yeah.
I 100% believe in this opinion. I think I've had this opinion on Twitter, which then led with fights with people in Colorado.
Now, I would match eastern Colorado from Denver to the border of Nebraska up with Des Moines, west of Des Moines to the border of Nebraska. And then I think Sam threw in the other day, basically Mason City to Des Moines, which on the way up to Minneapolis. Those are pretty excruciating. I got to be honest with you. Those are tough drives.
Yeah, that north turn, if you're going up to Minneapolis, honestly, all the way from Des Moines to the edges of the cities, pretty
nothing.
Like southern Minnesota has nothing to
the
add.
Diamond
to
Joe Casino.
That's the only Albert Lee.
Don't diss Albert Lee.
At least they have that. Now, Eastern
an important
Colorado
interstate
has
interchange.
literally nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing there.
I mean,
There's
Kansas offers
Julesburg.
very little outside of the eastern edge.
At least it's mildly like exciting because there's kind of hills, like you're
Sure.
clearly going up
Yeah.
in elevation.
Yep.
But it's about all they
But it's
got to
still
offer.
Great Plains.
It's all gray. Did I ever tell you about the one time where I was driving out to Colorado and I saw a car flip over the road in front of me on 76?
No,
Oh my God, it was crazy.
it seems like
You know how
it
the east and the west bound lanes are separated by a wide margin? Dude was coming east, and all of a sudden I see a car, because you're kind of dazed off. Like there's a car in the middle of the air in front of me. It
You're
was
like seeing a bear with a helmet.
It was crazy. It
would be.
landed into our westbound lane of
Whoa.
traffic, like probably a quarter mile ahead of me, not by very much. And
How did you handle it?
Well, I pulled over and it was, I think everybody was okay, but there was
How many cars were in front of
it
you?
was a scene, like a few.
Yeah,
not
I
very
assume they
much.
pulled over.
I was
someone
one
got
of
out
the
and
first
checked.
people on
Yeah.
the scene.
Wow.
It was bad.
Yeah.
There was, I saw some things, but I didn't want to see. But I think everybody survived.
Yeah.
Not good.
That's nuts.
That happened in
That
Eastern
would be
Colorado.
nuts. And
Tex-
how did it flip again?
I don't know. I really don't. I don't know how it got over there. But it was airborne.
And then it was just in front of you.
I was not hallucinating. It was a real thing that happened.
That's
Other
wild.
people saw it. From the 402, I have an opinion. McMaster needs to wear his headphones the correct way. Then maybe he would realize that he's McWhispering. You're McTrailing off. Please talk into the mic. He does the thing that broadcasters do. This is normal, by the way, where you wear one headset or you wear one so you can hear how much you're projecting and whatever it is. I mean, there is a purpose to it. For some people, it's just about comfort or whatever. But that is an opinion that we received. I don't like it. I like to be fully on board inside of the headset zone.
I don't like it.
Schaefer doesn't like it right now either. Here's Pedro. He has a bunch of different opinions. I have an opinion. If we are living in the Matrix, why would I want to torture myself by being a Nebraska football fan? The team has lost so many games by one score and in ridiculous fashion that it has to be real. There is no way I am dreaming this heartache.
Be a really rough dream to wake up from, too. It's like, what? That was all for what?
Exactly. Also, Pedro, hi, guys. I have another opinion. Restaurant and bars should have a baseball bat so the customer can decide who pays for dinner or drinks by doing a bat toss. Here's how the bat toss works. Number 1, tossing the bat. 2 individuals toss a bat into the air. Number 2, grabbing the bat. Each person grabs the bat with one hand. You could do the alternating grabs until one's on the top. And then number 4, fourth step is loser pays.
Okay. The bat toss, how does it, what's the scoring on the bat toss? Who can throw it higher?
I guess this is all in what, you have to toss the bat before you grab the bat and then do the alternating grabs.
Okay.
Just so no one's cheating on the bat grab.
Gotcha.
This is an easy way to solve a lot of the problems that we have at restaurants, which is who's paying the bill. I'd say Pedro's onto something. Bat toss. Here's Gus Mohawk as well. I have an opinion. The 1995 team is the best college football team of all time. 2001 Miami, 19 LSU might have been more talented, but Osborne was not getting out coached by Ed Orgeron or Larry Coker.
Go Tigers.
Nebraska would have won by double digits GBR.
I can't offer anything to refute it. I never really consider anybody else.
Tom Osborne definitely a better coach than Larry Coker and Ed Orgeron. Yeah, I can tell you that much.
What do we think Tom Osborne's LLC was relative to Ed Orgeron?
Did it end in a Z? Unclear.
Oh, man.
Unclear. John writes in, I have an opinion. Mrs. Happer wraps all the gifts in the Happer household. That is not an opinion. It is a fact. So who am I to speak about wrapping paper? I think it's a fair argument, to be quite honest with you.
There you go.
You can still enjoy it. It's not like you can't enjoy wrapping paper even if you're not using it.
I like presentation. What can I say?
No,
I like
think
when
it's
stuff
perfectly fine.
looks good. From the 402, I have an opinion. The guy with the McMaster opinion is smart. I can't hear half of what he says on the crossover. That's probably me too, because I'm talking into a microphone off to the side. The crossover could get a little bit wacky in terms of the volume of things. That's for sure. Also, Ryan in Delaware, I have an opinion. Adding Mick to everything regarding McMaster is a great bit.
We share that opinion.
I love that.
I agree. Let's see. Jason, no more on wrapping paper. I have an opinion. Rewrapping paper being trash collection dad is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have anything to add
That's
to it.
fair. That's fair.
I have no notes.
Fremont Fred, I have an opinion. A bat in a bar around alcohol and people is a terrible idea unless I'm the one with the bat.
I was wondering.
I don't trust Fremont Fred with a bat in a bar.
I don't think I would trust really anybody with a bat.
Especially Matt.
Why does it always have to be about Matt?
Yeah. Joey was a wacky.
He's a guy
wrestling
that
show.
tends to do something very, very out of the ordinary.
It's true. And Utenskers, Eastern Colorado has tumbleweeds.
Yeah, they do.
We did
and
forget
tarantulas.
We did forget about the tumbleweeds.
They do.
In Eastern Colorado. Let's see. Oh, I haven't got to any of the YouTube comments today. Are there any I have an opinions from the YouTube
Didn't
comments?
really see any. A lot of bear talk.
Okay. Well, that will do it then. Thank you all for submitting your opinions to this very talk show today. They are greatly appreciated. We will take a break. Brian Christopherson is our next guest coming up on 1620 The Zone.
I'm a symbol man. I'm a symbol man. I'm a symbol man. I'm a symbol man.
Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7 on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone.
And we're joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Brian Christopherson from Husker 247. BC, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Good. We were having a deep dive on identity and why there isn't one and all these different things earlier on. So I'll have you define it for us if you can. What would you say Nebraska football's identity is right now going into year 4?
It's tough to answer. And I'm not actually knocking them by saying that. It's tougher to answer right now just because of, I think, the dramatic shifts really on both sides of the ball. I think Calandria, in particular at QB, is a different type of quarterback than like Dana Holgerson's had. He talked at length about it in the spring. And so there's a mobility factor in how they're going to use that on off-script plays that I think is probably different than they've ever done it before, or he's done it with a quarterback at least. And then you're also implementing with that probably some new ideas, I think, from Jeep Wade, and they want to get those offensive linemen out more in space because it's a more mobile group. And so it's challenging right now to answer because I do think there's a shift going on with some key players. So you start, with how you're going to operate around a different quarterback, and also an O-line coach who's had success elsewhere and is going to bring some new ideas to the plate. And then obviously on defense, you're going to the 4-2-5. And I think, especially on the defensive line, for some guys, there's going to be an adjustment to sort of technique and what they're asked to do, but it is different than it was a season ago. And so it's a hard question to answer because of that. But the identity they've got to get back that I don't think has been there quite enough for Husker football for a while is you've got to be that team that your opponent feels a week from now, where you almost cost them their next week's game too. Those are what the best teams, that's their identity. Whatever style of football they play, they have that toughness where the other side just knows after the game's over, we just went through it against those guys, and they're still in the cold tub on Wednesday feeling that game. And so that's the type of squad they've got to become.
Obviously, the answer to this in a perfect world is it has to work in conjunction, but which side of the ball do you think has to be better for Nebraska to maximize its output in 2026?
Man, that's a good question.
Thank you.
Both of them.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, Schaefer. I guess I would say the offense. I think it's got a higher ceiling because of the new things I mentioned in the previous answer, and so I just think there's more out there for them, and I could be proven completely wrong on that, but I do have excitement about Calandria. Like it's not like it's just Kool-Aid drinking excitement, but it's like I think it's going to be really entertaining, and I want to see them be a group that can finish stuff in the red zone a little bit better. But I'll say offense to your answer. The biggest thing, though, for both sides, I just was thinking about, as I said, red zone. It's red zone. Like they have to finish stuff. Like they've got to finish those drives a little bit better on offense. And the defense, when you look at the red zone touchdown percentage allowed from a year ago, it was just woeful. So that's where you want to see that tough mentality take place and all that. But to answer the question, offense, because I want to see some playmakers just make above norm plays, where a guy makes a 50-50 ball, 90-10 ball. He just is going to go get it for you. And you have those kind of plays inside the 5-yard line. So I guess I'll say offense.
Brian Christopherson is with us from Husker 247. Talk about the playoff a little bit. Feels like we're going to 24 with the college football playoff, and everybody's on board right now, I suppose, except for Greg Sankey, who it does feel like will get on board. We were thinking about the other day, a world where there is a 24 team playoff, which, like I said, seems to be rapidly approaching here. We did this, I feel like, when we expanded from 4 to 12. But the parameters around what's a good season and what's not a good season, don't they get pretty black and white at that point? Like, much like the NCAA basketball tournament, you either make it or you don't, and you're judged off that.
Yeah, I would say so. I know the ACC commissioner said, hey, we've got people putting like $30 million in the roster. More of them want to be in the playoffs. That is a good thing. But within that, you definitely, I would think we'll have more coaching blow-ups, right? Where maybe a guy gets one last year or something like that. Because just what you're saying, Hap, it's here's the line. Are you on the right side of it or not? And so it's going to make it pretty easy to judge to at least power programs or fan bases that see themselves as having a type of program that should be in that setup. And Nebraska fans, I think, even though, it's well understood, and we could talk for an hour about the 7-year bowl drought before the last 2 7-6 seasons. But I think deep down, Nebraska football fans, as this gets passed or whenever it comes, there's going to be an expectation, whoever's the coach, we're supposed to be in that thing with the resources over there. And obviously after the stadium's, built up again, and you got one of the best, setups in college football, you expect to be in that dance. And so no doubt about it. It to me, I don't know if you want to say raise the stakes because they're always high in that profession, but you're right. It's so black and white now.
What did you make of Troy Danon's comments on the 5 for 5 and the fact that it seems like not only is it imminent, but there's going to be a level of sort of grandfathering or just kind of changing rosters to make it all fit so they could have it start earlier?
Yeah. You know what? I'm really interested in that topic, and I'm surprised it doesn't get more run, actually. Maybe I'm just missing it, but when you do an article or something, you're kind of looking around what else has been said on this, what's out there, and there's not just a ton of stories within, teams beats about what it could mean to rosters and how it could affect people. If this goes through and it happens like that, where you can be grandfathered in, and so basically your 4th-year seniors this upcoming year then have the opportunity to come back for one more. You've got a week's worth of radio content there, right? To discuss who's coming back. In all the different sports, it's pretty fascinating. I just did a couple weeks ago, one on football, and I don't want to put you don't want to assume a certain guy is going to just come back or what is in his head. But you've got guys Calandria, who would have another year, and Cam Lenhart, I think Jameer Khan, who's going to become a big story this year on that defense, as another year. You can go through and you find these pretty interesting names, and then obviously you could do it with all the other sports. I don't want to misspeak on someone, but I think Bowden Kapke, in basketball, hasn't used the red shirt, and so it'll be a weird deal if it happens where suddenly I think you are going to see a lot of talk of is that guy a 4th-year junior or a 3rd-year junior? And we're going to have to start I think even how we distribute information about the roster, it's going to have to be done differently, right? Is he a 2nd-year guy, 3rd-year guy? Some of the old talk of every junior is a junior is going to just go out the window. So I'm surprised that hasn't hit as hard yet, but when that does pass, and it sounds like it's going to, you're going to see a lot of that. It's going to be pretty interesting.
BC, when we've heard from Troy Danon on this, whether it be on the CSC issue in particular, that was, ruled against Nebraska's athletes this week, or even in an offhand at the stadium press conference a couple weeks ago, where he was like, yeah, guys aren't, people aren't really paying attention to the rules, and that's not legal. Part of this isn't legal anymore. I feel like he's gone that direction a couple of times, and it came up again last night when he was on the Husker Sports Network. It feels like he's trying to send a message that Nebraska is, on they're really on the up and up. Although I do think the players, going to arbitration with that is an example of kind of a shortcut that they were trying to take. I don't know. How do you pull all this apart, whether it be from the Nebraska side of things and how they get their money funneled to athletes, or just how Danon looks at it?
Yeah. I think there's just got to be, I understand that. Like, if you're a competitor, if you're a coach over there and you actually do play close to the rules, and I'm not going to be Pollyannish about it and act like everything Nebraska's ever done since I've been alive, like it's just been straight and narrow. I'm sure there's been stuff, it happens at different places. But it has to be frustrating if you feel like you're sort of within whatever, even if they're like plastic guardrails that you could easily get blown away by the wind. You're at least trying to kind of steer between them. And for good and well that, there's this program over here is doing this, and it's just going way beyond what the setup is. But it's just the way we don't have a setup that is easily defined. Nobody really can define it that well. Like, even with the whole Nebraska CSC case, like most people, and I don't blame them, I'm the same way. You're kind of like, it's hard to get your head around. You're going about your daily life, and you just don't understand like all the changes, or what exactly the parameters are around the topics right now in college sports. And so it's hard even for common fans, I think, to discuss. And, you want your team to be the best of the best. But then there is that truth, like, maybe somebody is spending $20 million more than you. And how do you shake that out in your mind as you evaluate like where you're supposed to be and factor that into the conversation? So, as he said, though, I have the quote in front of me. Let's not pretend that everything's on the up and up, but that's part of the system. That's part of the system that we've lived in forever. And that there's truth to that too. Like, we can act like this is new, but nothing new under the sun with NCAA. And there's always been people cutting corners. And so that's just part of it, really.
All right, BC, we will let you go. As always, appreciate the time, and have a good rest of your week.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Brian Christopherson from Husker 24/7. I just don't know that I don't like this whole thing that he's doing where it's like we're following the rules and nobody else is. That sort of bothers me a little bit. Like, because I also don't think that's what this is about. I also don't think that's what the whole CSC 18 players arbitration, like, I don't think this is an example of like, oh, Nebraska is following the rules and they're the only ones that are being punished, or they're the only ones that go to arbitration because this worked. No, like, they went to arbitration because they were trying to funnel their money through an previously untapped resource that is deemed illegal by the CSC that nobody else is doing.
Yeah.
Like, they're not being illegally picked out. They're not.
No, I think they purposely chose to make this a court case to see if they could do it.
Exactly.
So, like, whether or not they're following the rules is immaterial. It's more of this didn't work, so how are you going to funnel money to your players? What's the next step?
And they'll find a way.
Right.
It just can't be this one for now.
Right. And so, like, I don't know. I found it kind of odd, but also easy enough to sort of ignore. Like, it almost feels like he's trying to explain, like, hey, no, everything's fine. We're doing it how we're supposed to be doing it. Don't worry about that. We just wanted to see if we could do it another way.
I just don't like how I don't like what the talking point has been from it. And that fuels a whole bunch of stuff within the fan base that people get a misconception of what is happening here. This is not Nebraska, because I've seen so much over the last couple of days, like, oh, well, Nebraska tries to get a $7.5 million worth of deals passed through their multimedia rights thing. And meanwhile, X program has been cheating for X amount of years or whatever it is. And like, that's cool. Like, that's not what this is.
No.
That's not like you have a fundamental misunderstanding of what happened at this arbitration thing.
I think in a weird way, what he's trying to do is paint it so that like people who think that Nebraska was attempting to do something that they couldn't or whatever it was, he like wants to let people know we're on the up and up.
And they are.
Right. And
because this blocked them from doing what they wanted to do.
I think they wanted to see if this was an avenue. Now that they know that it's not, they have to go other avenues, which I think they have.
And by the way, I don't know that you should have been rooting for Nebraska in this situation either. It would have completely destabilized the CSC thing. Like,
I'll be completely honest,
it's going to get destabilized anyway.
Sort of at the point where I didn't really care what the result of it was.
Yeah,
because it's like no part of me is that concerned about these schools, whether it's Nebraska or anybody else, and their ability to get these players the money. They're going to have to be creative, but you can figure out how to do that. Whatever.
Essentially, what they were trying to do is do less paperwork.
Right. Yeah, they wanted to make it easier.
Yeah.
They wanted to streamline it.
Yeah.
And so
I think people have a fundamental misunderstanding of what that was.
Right. No, I agree with that.
And I don't think Dannon's really helping. Let's take a break. We'll finish out the hour after this on 1620 The Zone. Well, it looks like Nebraska basketball has put together a gauntlet of a non-conference schedule.
Did someone say schedules?
According to Matt Brown, extra points, Matt Brown. Now, this is on top of Nebraska, of course, playing on the road at Creighton in the Providence Mohegan Sun game and the Sioux Falls game against who again? Schaefer?
Sioux Falls game will be Boise State.
Boise State, that's right. On top of that, you have this. Lemoyne, Lindenwood, South Dakota, great faces, great places. FDU famously beat Purdue one time in the NCAA tournament. Mount St. Mary's and New Haven. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus 3 more non-con games that we know. So 9 out of 11, I guess non-con games would be this year, are now known for Nebraska ball. And let me tell you, those 6 are a doozy.
Yeah, those are not particularly exciting, which is usually what you get for a handful of non-conference games.
Yeah.
So I think they're still working on having a bigger game. I think that's kind of been in the works, but we'll see.
Whoa,
What big games?
What do you mean by that?
Well, I think they want a home and home, like to set up a home and home with an area, power conference team. So
An area.
Who would that
power
be?
Conference team. Missouri.
yeah, something like that. I mean, I don't have a
Kansas.
specific-
Kansas State,
Those are teams that they're in conversation with.
Colorado.
That's been
Oklahoma
the talk.
State,
Any of them could work.
South Dakota State.
Keep naming teams. They're already playing South Dakota, which is the same conference.
They can play South Dakota State too.
They don't need to play them both.
They could, though. I mean, they are already playing Lemoyne and Lindenwood.
Well, that's what
Northern
happened.
Colorado,
I'm
Colorado
excited.
State.
I'm excited for the New Haven game.
I'm excited. We should go down for that game.
It's right before New Year's.
Very well could. What is it? December 29th?
30.
There
day
we go.
The day
Nobody.
before.
Well, no, none of the students. The students won't be back. Well, maybe the students will be back. They're coming back for
They,
second
even if they're
semester.
back, they still won't have their student tickets. So
Ah, dang it.
it's always the worst part
Well,
of that.
maybe
that
that's
country.
when Happer and Schaefer and all of its listeners can rent out the student section, and all 14 of us can sit in the student section and wave our shirts around like we're at a baseball game.
So pretty much all Western Nebraska
Let's
showing
pitch
up.
this in our next meeting, whenever that is.
Yeah,
And we'll see what kind of reception.
that'd be
Secret meeting.
awesome.
Well, I would think it'd be hilarious.
We all sit in a little corner and then we all take off our shirts and wave them around.
You never know in those kind of games, you might get to see a player like Oogie that'll play one time all year. It could be during a game like New Hampshire.
That's true. Who will we see in the one game against New Haven this year? Do we figure out anything about New Haven yet? By the way,
We just know that it's in
It's in Connecticut.
Yeah, that's all I've
Future city of the day.
all right, 328
Could
on
be.
Ken Palm.
Do we want to make New Haven the city of the day?
Wow, they play like half the NEC this year. Nebraska does. Sure. New Haven, Connecticut.
Yeah, let's
Yes.
All right. Joey's
Joey's
down
fired
for
up
it.
about this.
New Haven, 328 at KenPom last year. The Chargers were 350th in
Chargers,
adjusted
go.
efficiency offense last
Let's
year.
go.
That's good. They did finish their season with a win in the regular season before missing the NEC tournament last year. They did beat Lemoyne in the final game, who Nebraska also plays.
Okay.
Lemoyne is in Syracuse, according to my data.
Syracuse, New York.
Syracuse, New York, also home of Syracuse,
Wow.
The Orange.
home of Mike Tirico
And Ryan Tabb.
and Tubb.
It's a journalism school.
Oh, it's a big journalism school.
Did-
very much so.
I wonder if Big T went there.
No.
This is exciting. Sean writes in, he says, what's worse, Matt Rule at a Nebraska ball game or Connor? Great question.
Connor
do
will
not-
be at least one Nebraska basketball game this year.
Yes, but it won't be probably in Lincoln.
The last time he was
Probably.
at a Nebraska basketball game, they won
The
Is that
last
true? Yeah.
time
at
I was-
CHI 2 years ago.
Have you not been to a game?
I
since
guess
then?
I didn't go to a single Nebraska ball game.
I'm
last
talking about the
year.
Creighton
Tracks.
game where Ryan Kalkbrenner had
Yeah,
one
no,
shot.
yeah.
We're
Oh,
aware.
we were
We were
just
trying to
tracking
figure out
back,
if,
yeah.
if Happer had been to any game since then.
And I don't think I went to a single game last year.
There you go.
There you go. You're right, Joey. Section 220 boys. I'll be there, baby. Woohoo! With a Jason Green jersey for Mike.
Jason Green.
Jason Green. This is exciting.
There will be no wearing of a Jason Green jersey.
And then you can wear your Jason Green jersey to the New Haven, Lemoyne game.
The New Haven Lemoyne game. They just play them back to back.
Double header.
That'll be the new challenge for non-conference games.
That'll be fun.
You just
All
play
right.
double headers.
There you go. That's the non-con schedule. Nice job, Nebraska. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, we welcome you back. More of Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, the Zone mobile app, the Zone Radio Network. As we welcome you back, we remind you that the Cinco de Mayo Festival and Parade is still upcoming. Yes, you thought Cinco de Mayo was over. Wrong! It actually restarts tomorrow on historic South 24th Street. So you can join us and our sister station, Sweet 98.5, out there, especially Saturday morning as we march in the parade. So join us at the Heartland of America Park and at the riverfront, which is great. And you know what they say? Anytime you're celebrating Cinco de Mayo, it's Cinco de Mayo, which could be really whenever you want.
It's more of a vibe, not a specific period of time.
It's a state of mind.
It is a state of mind.
There was a story in the On 3 yesterday by Pete Nakos. Other people have nicknames for Pete Nakos. I don't know about his character one way or the other, but some people call him bad words. He wrote a story about Anthony Calandria. Anthony Calandria on Nebraska expectations. I'm not here to just win 8 games. This was also accompanied with a video. If you're watching along with us on YouTube, this video was tweeted out yesterday. This is Anthony Calandria and all of his friends playing. You see this video? Probably not, because it's impossible to tell what's happening in it. Except for Anthony Calandria has his shirt off.
A lot of born identity hypercuts in here.
A lot of action.
You don't actually see the ball get thrown, like you see the motion of the throw.
Oh, there it goes.
And it disappears.
So it's kind of like the Colorado training camp videos from 2 years ago.
When every team in the country pretty great time.
It was. Tiny Baby Buffs got in on the action. That much is for sure. So there you go. Anthony Calandria, who people also commented on the on a variety of different things surrounding him yesterday, and that he's not a very tall man, which we knew about.
Yeah, I mean, he's maybe 6 foot, maybe.
Short kings.
Yeah, like you hope that he can stay healthy in the Big Ten. That's why I don't know that he's going to be this massive rushing threat. But you need his legs to be able.
He's going to have to be running. Yeah.
So but he's going to have to stay alive too.
Anthony Calandria said this. Rule was super clear that he needed a quarterback. He wants to win. I can't ask for more than that. So that's what I was really telling him. Like, this is his move. He says, like, shoot. He always says that. Shoot. I'm coming here to win football games. At the end of the day, he wanted me, and I wanted to be here. I'm here at Nebraska to win football games. I'm putting my head down, and I'm going to work my ass off. My teammates see that at the end of the day. I want to make everyone around me better. I want to lift up everyone's game. We had a great spring, and we're ready to win football games.
So he self-censored to shoot, but he's just dropping the big A.
Dropping the A word.
Couldn't have said tush.
That is right. He says, I think I've always had a chip on my shoulder, and I feel like that's kind of my superpower. Just never being the biggest to recruit, always being underrated. I've kind of carried that from Virginia to UNLV to Nebraska. I want to prove people wrong. I think I've had that chip my whole life. My expectations are to win. Like, you're not here to just not win a national championship. I'm not coming here to just win 8 or 9 games. I want to win a national championship. I want to go to the playoffs. I have high expectations, and we have high expectations as a team. When I first got here, I felt like the bar was 8 or 9 wins, and I was like, no, we want to win 11, 12 games. We've got to win. That's the biggest thing.
Winning is the biggest thing.
Shout out to Tony.
I agree with Tony on that one.
Mm-hmm. Any thoughts on Tone or anything that he said?
He has a quote in here that's sort of mostly notable because it doesn't include Isaiah Hunter, where he's
you're sleuthing.
He's not quoted, but he apparently talked about some of the offensive players, and he referred to Quasi Gilmer as, quote, stud. Wideout Quinn Clark is, quote, going to be a big piece. Ja'Cory Barney is a, quote, really good player. He's also been impressed with freshman running back Jamal Rule, who should, quote, have a huge impact for us this year, end quote.
Nothing about Isaiah
Nothing
Hunter.
about Isaiah Hunter. Nothing about a lot of players. So
Carter
I don't really think
Nelson.
it just sort of, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Nothing about Isaiah Hunter. That's how I took it.
Wow, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know.
Maybe it was just that. Maybe those were just all the people in the video, in the funny video.
Very well could just be that. Like maybe Isaiah Hunter didn't go to Florida to go throw the football and have a vertical video taken and have it super hyper edited. Unclear.
Maybe. The
I don't
kids
really
in their
know.
vertical videos, man.
I don't like vertical videos.
I don't either. They're hard to see.
It's hard to see.
I
It
would like to
cuts
see
off the whole point
everything
of the
that's in the
widescreen.
video
Yeah.
with my eyes.
I want my screen to be filled up.
Let's
with
normalize the horizontal video. again.
Oh, it's never coming back, Schaefer. Those times are way gone.
Don't say that.
They are. You are behind the times. Now, I'm not doing vertical videos. You won't find me at anything doing vertical videos.
You'll just see that on TikTok or Snapchat, Facebook Reels, and Instagram stories.
I will be doing horizontal videos for the rest of my life because I am now old and a father, and that's what we do. We hold the camera out awkwardly and we point it to the side, and we do it as awkwardly as we possibly can. But I will never stop doing it because I believe it takes a higher quality photograph.
Vertical, the worst.
There's your
It's
example
bad.
on the screen if you're watching on the video stream.
So that's the take about Calandria. Vertical videos are bad.
Yeah, I mean that's certainly one of the takes. Though I don't know how that really has anything to do with him as a football player. It's just more of a, I guess it would have fit better and I have an opinion than it does right now in this segment, I suppose.
Agreed.
But
You can still have opinions in other segments.
I have an opinion about this particular player. I appreciate the confidence. I don't have any problem with him talking up big. I have no issue with that almost ever with a player. Like,
Yeah, I don't.
I don't know what you want them to say in these scenarios.
Agreed.
Yeah, it always I see this or I would get this or people would mock it, and it's like, well, what do you want him to do? Because if he's not confident, you're going to complain that there's not enough confidence there. And if he doesn't say anything, then there's complaints that he's not I don't even know what it would be. But it's just like generally when someone's asked about, hey, how do you think the upcoming season's going to go? They're going to present that they feel good about things.
I love my team. I love my guys.
Which is ultimately better than if they were like, I don't really care. I just came for the paycheck.
That is true.
So if you'd rather that, find, the sort of team where that could be a thing.
And he did go work out somewhere with his shirt off with those guys and did a vertical video. So at least there was some work done.
Which
that
feels
day.
like camaraderie is high.
It may be. You could make the case that is the case. Yes. But people forget Dylan Raiola did that.
Sure. But was he shirtless in a vertical video?
Not shirtless. I've never seen Dylan Raiola
He's too busy
shirtless.
writing poems.
He didn't even write that.
Wow.
I don't
Writing
think
poems.
we ever saw Dylan Raiola shirtless.
That's right.
That would have caused quite the stir amongst the fan base.
I don't think it's necessary.
I don't think so. I don't think so either. I think you get the point
Yeah, I
with his shirt off
definitely.
or with his shirt on.
I definitely think. How many versions of this sort of Calandria story do you expect that we'll have pop up between now and, say, Big Ten Media Day?
I would say 2 more.
2? That
Two-
seems a little low.
1 per month.
Okay. Do you have any guesses on outlets?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good topic. On 3 was the easy one.
Sure.
Right out of the gate. On 3, it was the On 3 national though. Somebody is going
CBS Sports is going to get involved with this.
somebody is going to come in and write a story about him from. Yeah, I think USA Today is a pretty good
Ooh.
one.
Matt Hayes just going to have the doors thrown open for him.
Yeah, does Paul Meyerberg still work there? What's he up to?
I don't know because I think he quit social media. He's really good. And
He is really good. Yeah.
I enjoy his work, and I have no idea what he's doing now.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he's a college football reporter.
I haven't seen a byline in a long time. I mean, probably part of the reason is because he doesn't do lists. And the only thing that ever gets publicized from these publications is lists and dumb things like that. Has he written anything recently?
Hilariously, the 3 things that I can find here that he's written recently are lists.
Paul. He's sold out to the list. It's like the vertical.
Define 2026.
It's like the vertical videos of the writing community.
He's got post-spring power rankings. Do you want to see his Big Ten post-spring power ranking?
I do.
Where do you think Nebraska sits?
11th.
All right.
9th.
12th. You were wrong.
Paul Meyerberg, get in here. Do a story about Tony.
Yeah, we want to.
Maybe you could take your shirt off too, and then we'll all do a vertical video together.
Yeah, that just leads to Marty Smith, and
that's true.
Marty Smith definitely going to be shirtless with Anthony Calandria throwing the ball around.
Maybe. Well, you know what happens. The bus boys.
Oh
no.
The bus boys are going to come, and they'll do a Calandria thing for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll take their shirts off and do vertical videos. They love doing that already.
They don't need Calandria for that.
No, they don't.
That's just 2:00 on a Thursday.
Pedro writes in. He says, "Hi guys, I'm going to miss the Dylan and Patrick comparisons. I'm not.
I never cared.
I'm not." Brett Minnesota writes in. Write down the list of things to say in an interview to college athletes. Yeah, he really went. He checked all the boxes.
Yeah, I mean he's been around it enough.
John writes in, is there any handshakes in the video? Any new handshakes?
Did not see any handshakes.
Not that I was able to see.
Honestly, there hasn't been a whole lot of handshake discussion since people got mad about the conversation about handshake.
No, you're right.
It's almost like they've gone out of their way not to show the handshakes.
Do you think they got bothered by the commentary on the handshakes and then he stopped doing them? I hope he didn't stop doing his handshakes.
Hasn't had the access, like the media hasn't had the access to be around the handshakes.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I hope he didn't just stop doing his handshakes.
Oh, I don't think he would have let the outcry take away the handshake.
Don't let the haters get to you, Tony.
You just don't let them see the handshakes.
That's better.
And then after you throw a touchdown next year and bust out one of the handshakes, people are going to like the handshake.
Oh, I remember the handshakes.
Look at that camaraderie.
Yeah, Tony, here's the lesson. Don't let the haters get you down. You talk to On3, you say you're going to win 11 and 12 games. People are probably have an opinion on that. They probably say, here we go again. Don't listen to those guys.
How many seasons is he going to play to win 11 or 12 games?
Keep doing your handshakes. Keep doing what you do.
Wow.
Go, Tony.
Inspirational
Be yourself.
from you to Tony.
That's right. That's my message to Tony.
Wow.
Don't be affected by the outside noise. Keep thinking that you're going to win 11 and 12 games. That's great. Don't let anybody stop you.
You want to have that confidence.
Not even the Iowa fans who are like, he's the perfect Nebraska quarterback. He loves talking about how many games he's going to win and things of that nature. Don't listen to those.
This
guys.
is very random. I was in a situation where I looked at Iowa's next quarterback, the guy who's supposed to replace Gronowski.
Yes.
Jeremy Holinsky or something like
Hecklinski, yeah.
Holinsky. I don't know how it's pronounced.
I think it's Hecklinski.
That is exactly how it is because it looks different than what you think that it should be. He is 5'11", 165 pounds.
Whoa! Join the club. He should take his shirt off.
That is not a Big Ten quarterback. No. Gronowski ran for 16 touchdowns last year.
Yeah. No,
they're not
doing that.
The same.
No, they're not doing that anymore.
It's kind of fascinating what they ultimately look like now with 87-year-old advisor Tom Moore.
It's funny. Their quarterbacks have been giant in the past.
Yeah.
And then they got Gronowski, who was like kind of just turned into a battering ram.
He was, 6'2.5", 235.
Yeah, he's
a
big fella.
Kind of what a little shorter version of Adrian Martinez was, a little bit of that in that 2021 range.
Yeah, Adrian got big.
Yeah. Well, certainly 2019 Adrian was big. Yeah. Probably too big. Whole team got a little too big.
Definitely too big. Yes.
So
I never saw him take his shirt off. I'm sure it happened though. At least once or twice.
You want to go down the list of quarterbacks and you can determine whether you've seen him shirtless or not?
Oh, yeah. It's probably 50-50.
Okay. Are we going?
No.
Are we doing this?
No, we don't have time. We have to talk to Max Olson from ESPN right after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, we're back on Happer and Schaefer. We have to sometimes we're having a conversation during the break, and then just an uncontrollable outburst of an NFL schedule leak comes across, and we have to just react to it accordingly. What did we just learn, Joey?
Packers and Bears on Christmas.
Okay, there you go.
And why is this valuable to you besides being a Packers fan?
It's going to be a stressful day for me, and I'm sure for good old Matt McMaster.
And you already
And
hate.
it doesn't even show up in wrapping paper.
Yeah, exactly. You
doesn't.
hate gift wrapped already,
Yeah,
so
I don't need to worry about that.
You're in big trouble, my friend. As we're joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Max Olson from ESPN. Max, good morning. What's up?
Good morning. Here's a fun twist to my segment today, guys.
Okay.
My children are both home because their daycare flooded. So I'm currently watching an 11-month-old. So if she starts crying loudly, it's either because you asked a bad question or because she's telling me to wrap it up here. So we will see. I'm on the Budweiser hot seat here.
I love this. And fortunately, we are experts because not only do we have children ourselves and have tried to perform radio interviews with them in the background, also Brunts came up. What was going on with Brunts? He was his kitchen was getting redone or something
kitchen
like
was being
that.
remodeled.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we like to fight through the adversity here. Speaking
I
of,
wish I had Mike Brunt's problem.
There's always something going on in the background with Sam McHugh, you never know what it is.
right? Yep, that's definitely true as well. So, speaking of fighting through adversity, we were curious. One of the things that came up during the break before we learned that the Bears and the Packers are playing on Christmas, coaching cliches. What is your favorite coaching cliche that you've heard over the years?
Gosh. I mean, I think like most reused, most recycled. I mean, can't let this loss beat you next week or whatever, right? You
good
gotta have
one.
like that. That's a very, very classic one. One game at a time.
Yep.
1 week at a time, obviously. No one's ever said they're taking it 2 or 3 games at a time.
No.
I think those judgment. What are the all timers to you guys?
No, those are good.
Those stand out.
I do like the fighting through adversity, and I like when coaches proclaim that they can't play for you if you don't have this or that or whatever it might be. That's always good.
I enjoy when you.
I do enjoy the defensive ones where they're like, we had a great plan, they just didn't execute it.
Basically, Bo Pelini.
No, our week of preparation was great.
It wasn't
Great week of practice.
We had a great week. I didn't see that.
Great week of practice is fantastic.
Yeah. That's one of my favorites.
It's the specific ones, the specific coaches that always stand out for me. So, Max, speaking of specific coaches, you went to I don't know if you went, but you spent time talking with Eric Morris about the giant rebuild that he has going on at Oklahoma State. I guess to set the scene, what was the post Mike Gundy sort of situation like in Stillwater that Eric Morris walked into? Because a massive overhaul, but a really unique way of doing it with so many of these guys coming from North Texas where they were really successful last year.
Yeah, Oklahoma State, usually we talk about these transitions, like everybody sort of figures like, oh, it's so tough to come in after Nick Saban or come after Bill Snyder or some of these things. And like, I think at Oklahoma State, it was kind of a clean transition because they just completely fell off the cliff here over the last 2 years. They haven't won a Big 12 game in the last 2 seasons. They're 4-20. Gundy was fired 3 games into last season. They went 1-11 and were just like totally irrelevant last year. And so I think part of it is like is they were going through their coaching search and they targeted Eric Morris even as he was going through trying to make the college football playoff. It's just like, man, come in, clean house, like do it how you want to do it. Bring your coaches, bring your players. Like, I think it was a pretty good opportunity on both sides there to say like, hey, you've got really productive offenses and great players. And, those guys can translate here. And so, for them to come into Stillwater, like they feel like they are going to be successful right away because of their firepower on offense. They got Drew Messamaker, the nation's leading passer, to go with them. They got Caleb Hawkins, who was the rookie of the year, one of the most productive freshmen in the country last year at any position. Wyatt Young, a 1,200-yard receiver. Like they were able to get all those guys to go with them, even though they could have made a lot more money elsewhere. And really it's pretty wild to look at because they've got 85 new players going into this year, but they feel like they have a chance to kind of copy the Indiana blueprint here a little bit and be really successful over their first 2 years.
Max, let's go back to the Nebraska versus CSC situation here as it went in the direction of the CSC this week. Nebraska is going to have to find a new way or a more creative way, I guess, to funnel their money over the cap to their student athletes. What's the grand takeaway here? And not even specifically pertaining to like Nebraska's involvement of it. Obviously the CSC not getting completely broken down, I think is probably a good thing at this moment, even though it feels like its demise may still be impending here. What's your takeaway from this entire situation and now the result of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at what was put in the papers on this, and we're talking about $7.5 million divvied up over 18 players, I think bottom line, you hope that Nebraska can resubmit that and those players can get that money, because I think certainly as this stuff keeps changing and you kill the spring portal and all that kind of stuff, like you would hate to see a situation where players are getting overpromised money and the school can't deliver on it. So I think that's hopefully, like, after going through all that whole process, I know Nebraska is resubmitting those deals. Hopefully they can work with Playfly to write those up in a more approvable way and get that all cleared so those guys can get paid. I think that you can't lose sight of that. But then I think I'm not surprised to see a C1 because I think there's just certain elements of the way Nebraska drew that up that were kind of straightforward in terms of you can see why the CSC rejects that stuff. But certainly if they're going to reject it a second time, if they're going to continue to not let these Nebraska players get paid, then I think you will see the intervention from the AG and stuff like that. And certainly I think a few months from now we could see that the house settlement folks are trying to get this changed permanently where these MMR deals are not counting towards this stuff. And so we'll see if that that may sort of make all of this kind of moot. I think that's certainly possible. And it just goes to show, like, as schools are dealing with this in December, January, and trying to pay out this money, like, it's just really tough it is sort of like money laundering. You're trying to get this through the system in a clean way, and certainly trying to deliver maximum dollars to your players. And that was pretty tricky this offseason.
So is it your understanding that you can still utilize Playfly Sports? It's just how they were trying to do it was the biggest issue? Because I guess I thought that you couldn't really use your MMR at all.
Well, I think part of it is, it really is about the structure of it and like, okay, can you prove that, like, these are the deliverables for this, that these are legitimate NIL deals, and it's not just warehousing where it's the company giving Nebraska all this money to give to players,
right,
with not that much in return. And so hopefully they can write this up and redo these in a way where they're smaller deals and that money still gets directed to the player.
Max Olson from ESPN is with us. How far do you dive into the world of scheduling and when these games are on TV and what networks they're on? Like during this time, it does feel like we're in that part of the year. Talking about Joey's NFL schedule release, we're going to start seeing some college football game times come out pretty soon here.
Yeah, we are. I think we've started to see some pop up. Like, I think we just saw, like, Texas Ohio State's going to be a night game, which is awesome. Ole Miss LSU is going to be a night game, which is going to just be an absolute disaster. I can't wait to see how that
100%
plays out. I don't know if you guys saw Lane Kiffin had some things to say.
He did
recently,
which I have no comments on.
Yeah, we don't need to exacerbate that. Yeah, I get excited for that stuff for sure. And I'm, you're also paying attention to the broader scheduling conversations around, people continue to have these meetings about 2014 playoff. And if we go in that direction, what's that going to mean for probably breaking more of these agreements, I'd imagine.
Hey, Max, we talked a little about Oklahoma State earlier. I am kind of interested. Is there a team that, and it doesn't have to be like, because Indiana sort of broke this for everybody, but is there like a surprise team for you that could jump out and have a nice year in 2026 that maybe people are discounting a little bit? Either they have the coaching change or the roster has sort of come together. Is anything that comes to mind? It doesn't have to be like a college football playoff contender necessarily, but somebody that sort of picks up and ends up being a bigger part of the college football season than maybe you would expect right now in May.
Yeah, it's a good question. Like, I do think, like, if Drew Messamaker's healthy, like, I think Oklahoma State going from like 1-11 to winning 10 games is like, it's on the table. And that's kind of crazy to say. But part of that, when you flip a roster like that, is just like, the guys that you have now, like, they had nothing to do with going 1-11 last year. Like, they don't wear any stink from last season. Like, it's just a brand new crew that comes in off a 12-win team at North Texas and feels like, they can be successful right away and put up a ton of points. And, in their 3 years in North Texas, Eric Morris had the third highest scoring offense in the whole country, behind Notre Dame and Oregon. So I think they feel like they can keep doing that with whatever they've got at Oklahoma State. And that's just how the Big 12 is, right? Like, I think, 2 years ago, we thought Arizona State would be at the bottom of the conference, and they win it with Sam Levitt and Cam Scadaboo. Last year, you think that, like, Arizona and Houston are really down and they go win 10 games. So, like, I think that conference is just kind of right for it every year, where if you kind of get the portal piece of it right, and you can kind of, upgrade across your depth chart, which you can do through FCS guys and G5 guys and a bunch of, like, unknown dudes. You can really kind of go from bottom to top in the Big 12 in a way that people really, really don't see coming.
Max, now with the ACC and the Big 12 saying that they would support a 2014 playoff model, Sankey seems to be the only one left on 16 Island, which is, crazy how we've gone from, we're actually at 12 right now. We're going to, we're skipping a couple steps. But anyway, is there any way that the SEC is able to hold this up and we don't end up at 24 on the next playoff contract?
Yeah, it's a good question. I've seen some people have argued this week that perhaps, ESPN is also, still opposed to going to 24. And part of that would be, certainly that you'd be opening up more games that Fox would have a chance to buy into and things like that. I can't speak for my employer and that, I'm not privy to those meetings, but I imagine that's a factor on the TV side too, to some degree. But yeah, it's interesting to see, if people come to this conclusion for different reasons. I think if you're in the ACC and the Big 12, you are ultimately still more fearful about access than you are about, is a 24 a better, model for the whole sport than 12. And so I think that, I think if the ACC and the Big 12 can get the concessions they're looking for to get more access than just one team into the playoffs, then I imagine that's a big motivating factor for them. Again, I've said it before. I'll always say, like, I understand we had the Notre Dame problem last year, but I just really, I think the 12-team playoffs worked out pretty beautifully so far.
Yep.
I think if you tweaked it and you started the playoff right away, and there wasn't that 3-week break, then I think you would have seen more success from those bye teams and the higher seeded teams. I think that's one thing that does have to get fixed. But in terms of 24 teams being, I mean, did you guys want to watch Pitt in a playoff game last year?
Not at all.
Did you want to watch? I mean, I'm not, Arizona, Houston. There's lots of, you can go down the list and come with a lot of schools that, had 8 or 9 wins or whatever, and they'd be in the mix, and good for them. But it's just like, are we really delivering like a much better playoff experience? That stuff, like, some years, yes, but most years probably not.
Yep. I would agree with that. 100%. All right, Max, you made it 13 and a half minutes with, and if there was any situations going on behind the scenes, we didn't notice. So terrific.
Well, guys, I am going to have to change a diaper here when we get off. But, other than that, we got through it. Shout out to Lizzie.
Thanks, Max.
Thanks, guys.
Max Olson from
Early Friday shout out there for Lizzie.
ESPN. Yeah, nice. I mean, that's pretty sizable.
That was when it started. I was like, we're getting 5 minutes. Yeah.
Not even a peep.
Yeah, no, that was great.
Not a peep from Lizzie.
Very well done. Very well done.
Should have made a vertical video of that. Put it out there.
Do you have a surprise team at this point?
Do I have a surprise team? No, I thought you were going to ask me my favorite coaching cliche, which Charles said moved around well, which I really like that one a lot.
Yep, that was another bow.
No, I haven't really thought about it from a team thing. Do you?
Yeah, I have a couple. There's a couple ACC teams that I'm somewhat interested in. Virginia Tech, just because I wonder if they get an immediate James Franklin bump. He brought some players in with them. I think the ACC is one of those like conferences that you can be upwardly mobile without a lot of resistance because it's very uneven as to what it's going to be. You saw Syracuse would have these starts, or we've seen
outside of
Pitt,
Miami,
Georgia Tech.
yeah,
You know,
it's like what's there.
the other team is also in the ACC, but because of the way the ACC works on the other side of the country, Cal with Tosh Lapoy, I'm fascinated by, because you have him, you have the quarterback whose name I'm not even going to try to pronounce, JKS. It's easier to just say that. Jaron, I think it's his first name. The rest of it gets difficult.
Whoa.
He's really good.
Whoa.
And there's a world where Cal, if they're like somewhat solid, like let's say Cal goes 8-4, I could see some program being like, let's see if we can hire Tosh and bring the quarterback and jumpstart our team right away.
So he's from Hawaii. So
yeah,
Jaron.
Are you familiar with this guy?
No, not at all.
He basically sort of ascended to being like one of the best high school quarterbacks in the country.
Yeah, looks like it.
Cycle.
Polynesian High School Football Player of the Year, 2024.
Yep. Went to Oregon and then immediately decided he didn't want to be at Oregon, transferred to Cal, and was their starter last year, was really good for kind of a bad Cal team. Made them very watchable.
7-6.
Yeah. They could be really interesting.
3,500 yards last year. Jaron Kiawe Sagapalutele.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me.
Jaron.
Yep.
JK.
Maybe Jaron.
Or maybe Jaron. Could be Jaron.
Maybe
Jaron.
Let's all watch some Cal football this year. That could be fun.
They could be fun.
Inundated with the Calgorithm if we're interested in that.
The Calgorithm?
Yeah, bring it back.
Whoa.
Bring it back. All right, we're back with the bracket sim, and we'll get you out of here coming up next on 1620 The Zone. Bananas and Bangers, get in your walk-up song to us here at 1620thezone.com. Last night, I saw a Chicago White Sox player by the name of Jared Kelenic walk out to his walk-up song was "Foreplay Long Time" by Boston.
That's
And I was like,
song.
wow.
Good song choice.
Where did but if you that's like an 8-minute song. Like,
Yeah, I
how
know
do
that.
you
determine what part of it?
Yeah, I mean, you only get about 8 seconds.
You got to pick a good 8 seconds, I guess.
What's part of it's part of that instrumental open, I would say.
No, it can't be
I
that.
remember Kelenic was on the White Sox now.
He is.
That's a former top Major League Baseball prospect.
He was traded for Edwin Diaz, I believe, at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was part of that.
He was
and
a
then
Met.
He was traded to the Braves for basically nothing.
Mhm.
And then I'm pretty sure he was just non-tendered or released.
Yeah.
And ended up on the
Now
White
he's
Sox.
a White Sox.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bananas and Bangers, powered by McCarthy 1 Hour Heating and Air. Get your walk-up song in at 1620thezone.com. And you could win a 4-pack of sweet tickets to see the Bananas game at Memorial Stadium on June 13th. $200 and a free duct cleaning from McCarthy's 1 Hour Heating and Air. To the bracket sim we go. College baseball is on the menu. Once again, if you're interested, there is a squeeze play tonight. There will be a squeeze play tonight. So check it out. I think the coverage starts at 5 from what I said. I had it all written out earlier, but actually, you know what? I'll pull up the tweet again just so we can make sure we get it right for you all, because we believe in these type of things. 5 o'clock, ESPN2, ESPN Plus, Schick and Rooney getting after it, checking in on 9 featured games across college baseball, and who knows what else. Might they check in on Nebraska and Minnesota, which starts at 2 today? Might they check in on Creighton and Xavier from GBAP, which starts at 4 today? Who knows? You never know what could happen on squeeze play. To the bracket sim. Nebraska is hosting the Lincoln Regional, where they bring in it's Arkansas. Oh no, Dave Van Horn.
It threw me off too when I first saw it. I thought Alabama, but there's just a little bit of difference in
now that is a narrative.
It would be a narrative. It would definitely be a narrative.
Mojo Hagee throws the first pitch.
Wow.
For the winners bracket game.
It seems like
if Arkansas gets by Gonzaga and Nebraska gets by St. Joseph's.
It seems like it'd be fitting if Nebraska wins its first regional since Dave Van Horn. Now, it was Mike Anderson was the coach in 2005.
Yeah.
Since 2005, and it's Dave Van Horn standing on the other side in that pivotal game. I don't hate that narrative at all.
I'd be sad for Dave. He can't win in the postseason anymore. Poor guy. They got to get that guy a national championship.
Well,
I don't know how they're going to do it.
They really could have last year.
They really could have last year.
You know,
they
that
really,
1 year when there
could've.
was 2 outs and
they could have that year too. Yeah.
Yep.
They were that exact out away for winning the College World Series and then didn't.
Disaster happened.
That was a disaster.
A very interesting regional with Arkansas, Gonzaga, and St. Joseph's.
I say we simulate it.
Let's do it.
And it's bad news for me because it's now the College World Series featuring Nebraska.
Wow.
I've been commenting lately on how Nebraska doesn't make it out of the regionals in our sims. Well, how about this? Big Red Nation. They go win a regional involving Arkansas in it. Dave Van Horn lays waste to him. See you later. Then they go on the road and win the College Station Super Regional. Whoa. That's Texas A&M, folks. And then in the first game of the College World Series, which would be the Sunday night game, if it all looks like it is, it would be against the Texas Longhorns.
Oh boy.
Now that would be quite the 7-day period.
Yeah.
Speaking of Arkansas, I have them all the way into the championship series, losing to Mississippi State.
Ugh. Okay. Schaefer?
I have a Connor World Series.
All right.
Nebraska loses in its regional to Arkansas. Arkansas then beats UC Santa Barbara to get to the College World
Jackson,
Series.
Florida.
However, they do not make it to the championship game, where it's Georgia Tech over West Virginia.
Georgia Tech keeps winning
This
the
is
national
what the
championship.
this is what the Connor World Series would look like in mine. UCLA, West Virginia, Auburn, North Carolina, Georgia Tech, NC State, Alabama, Pittsburgh,
Arkansas probably.
Or yeah, I have Arkansas. I
Yep.
said Alabama.
Mine is
I didn't done that twice now.
Yep.
Mine is UCLA, Mississippi State, Auburn, North Carolina, and then Kansas, Oklahoma State, Arkansas, and Texas. And I mentioned Mississippi State over Arkansas.
Did you hear about the College World Series yesterday that it delivered a record $147.6 million of economic impact to Omaha in their 75th anniversary year?
I didn't hear about this.
Which is a 67% growth since 2019.
6-7.
6-7.
Wow.
No, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I already triggered Matt yesterday.
It was a big year for the College World Series last year. It's been big over the last couple of years. Now, I will say that there is, I would imagine, I'm no economic expert, but I would imagine there would be some concern considering our very heavy favorite this year for the College World Series is UCLA, who doesn't travel at all.
Right.
And has no fan base outside of.
That's why you need UCLA and Nebraska to make it.
That would help Omaha. If I could somehow Jedi mind trick myself into it being a good thing for Omaha, which that's not very hard, then maybe I will be accepting of the Nebraska College World Series, but it still ruins it. I'm surprised nobody has aggregated me on this segment yet.
God.
I don't know how that hasn't happened. To be
I
honest
have no
with you.
idea. I think people just know.
I think so.
They sure
They're
do.
like, I'm not going to bother aggregating this guy. He knows exactly what he's doing. All right. That's it for us today. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. We got a crossover with a very injured Matt McMaster coming up next.